if you're just like an old head that's just like, it's college lacrosse or nothing else, it's just like, why? Like, why are you like that?
And now we welcome the legendary Kylie Ohlmiller. Clap it up.
I think people are freaking out way too much, putting way too much stock into Maryland. Maryland will be in Charlottesville. I'm going to tell you that right now. The death tax is Maryland Final Four, so.
Welcome back to the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show, presented by Duke Cannon, Episode 2, Season 3. I'm your host, Mitchell Pehlke. We got Hoagie here. We got Doogs. You'll see Kev a little bit later. My voice is kind of shot, and so is Hoagie's. Hoagie's, can you say what's up to the fans?
Yeah, what's up, guys? My voice is
gone.
Gosh.
Long weekend. My voice is shot. Hoagie's look like he swallowed I don't know what, and he can't talk.
Mitch,
and ultimately, we will do anything for a Buckeye championship.
I will do anything for a Buckeye national championship, a Buckeye big-time win. And you know what? If that means sacrificing my vocal cords in the stands with 20-plus alumni, big turnout in D.C. for Buckeye.
Dukes, let me ask you this. Have you ever screamed at a Dayton sporting event?
Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Do they even allow that at this school?
Yeah, I've cried. Just like Ohio State fans cried in 2014 when the University of Dayton knocked off Aaron Kraft, ruined his career. Do you even know who Aaron Kraft is? He's
legend, basketball legend.
Oh, I'm so happy you do, man. That would have wrecked our relationship. That would have wrecked our relationship, Mitch. That would have been altering.
All I got to say was Hoagie, the Pelkinator, all of Ohio State alums potentially ran DC on Saturday. Yeah, it was an all-day event.
It was an all-day
event.
event.
Can you give us like a quick itinerary of how the day went?
Yeah, so we had Friday night little fellowship with the boys. Got a nice
fellowship
dinner
in beautiful Annapolis.
Downtown Annapolis. Got a nice dinner with a bunch of alums. Had some adult beverages downtown. Woke up next morning. Mitchell actually picked a bunch of alumni up, drove us from Annapolis to D.C. to the famous Martin's Tavern, where the guys had a couple Guinnesses, some steak and eggs, not ready. Martin's Tavern, iconic spot at Georgetown. If you're ever there, my first time there. JFK actually got engaged there, like iconic spot, sick tavern vibes, old school. So we had a bunch of good breakfast there, a couple Guinnesses, and then walked straight to Cooper Field. My first time at Cooper Field, let me tell you what, that was one of the cooler stadiums I've ever been in. Awesome environment, a lot of fans there, 60 degrees, warm, and then obviously Buckeyes pull it out. Garrett Haas nails the dagger. A minute left in the fourth. Buckeyes get their first big win of the year. So
massive.
The boys are rowdy in the stands.
Just a good weekend for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, dude,
weekend.
Who was the first to text you guys? Congratulations.
Yes.
No hesitation. I don't root for the Buckeyes. I mean, I don't root against the Buckeyes. I don't root for the Buckeyes. I root for my friends. I have a little insider knowledge though. I got eyes and ears after the Cats. I was hearing,
what happened after midnight.
Nothing after midnight. This all stays PG rated, but I was hearing rumors that. We give Mitch a lot of shit on this podcast for not wanting drinking the beers. And I heard from a little bird that Hoagie at halftime was like, "Why are we getting beers? I need to go watch the game." He was bugging a little bit about. He's like, "Why do we need to get beers? We need to get back to the seats." And Mitch was like, "I'm cool with getting the beers."
I'll be honest. I love watching lacrosse. The game started at noon. Hoagie wanted to be in the stands at 11:15. I was like, we do not need to show up until at least 11:55.
Look, I'm a lax rat through and through, and that is factual. I don't know where Duke's got that information. That is factual. At halftime, listen, this is not college football, college basketball where you got, half hour, all this stuff going on at halftime, cheerleaders, band. It's the minute the clock hits 0 in the second quarter, 10 minutes, and the boys are playing again. So, all the alumni is going back out to the parking lot to get beers and stuff, and we're out there for a couple. What?
Wait, you're saying, if I want to hear this correct. You're saying that a bunch of lacrosse guys all got together, and they wanted to get more beer at halftime? That does not sound like lacrosse guys.
It's kind of shocking. Also, I'll say, there's about 30, 40 alumni there. My TikTok and Instagram reel stays true. The investment banking to lacrosse pipeline, it stays true. Out of the 40 people, I think 20 of them to 25 were in the finance realm. It continues to reign true. A bunch of guys from New York, a bunch of guys from everywhere came to D.C. Buckeyes showed out. The Buckeyes travel well. A lot of red in the stands.
And let's just say this, Mitch, on Doogs' point too. The boys, everyone left at halftime. It was 4-4 game. after about 10 minutes out there, I was like, you know what? I got to get back and watch this game. I show up. It's 6-6. So I missed 4 goals in the span of leaving the stadium to come back in, including Cullen Brown's goal. That was an awesome goal, watching it back on tape. But you know what? I'm a laxer at through and through. If I'm going to get docked back on, I can have beverages pre and post, but during those 60 minutes, I'm locked in on action. I'm dialed.
Also, the Twitter fingers we are firing off. I was like, this is a man that loves the grind. This is a Twitter legend. And I'm not on Twitter, as you guys know. I'll retweet, I'll pop in there with the frog emoji here and there. Hoagie, don't answer this. Doogs, I want you to answer this. Who is actually the king of lacrosse Twitter? Don't look at it from a follower's perspective. Don't look at it from a retweets perspective. I want your honest, non-co-host of the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show answer.
Oh, that's tough. I'd say the king of lacrosse Twitter. I might have to get a nod to Ty Sanders.
He's the
Really?
OG. He's
the OG. Is he still doing it, though?
Yeah, but obviously as I get older, I don't care about the high school game as much. Like, who's committing, who's recruiting. Yeah, dude, you mean. I was shocked you went to Ohio State-Georgetown. I thought you only went because you thought it was Georgetown Prep. No, but just that little nostalgia factor, like, I'll have to give Ty the king for that respect. But, I mean, it's probably my boy Dan Arestia, to be honest.
Really?
Yesterday he made me laugh out loud. I'm like laptop out at Champ Series. Like, I'm watching like Ohio State-Georgetown in a 1-goal game. I'm watching like Cornell-Richmond in a 1-goal game. And he's like, yeah. He tweets out, he's like, yeah. Like, you guys are all watching the D1 games. He's like, I'm watching Tampa versus Maryville. Absolutely. You get beat the brakes. And I'm just like,
you gotta respect that. You gotta respect that.
I gotta find, like, me and Hoagie are locked in for like the D1 major games. Like, you're watching Tampa over Ohio State-Georgetown or Richmond-Cornell yesterday. Like, you are a dirty dog on Twitter.
Yeah, you're watching Roanoke, Western New England late night. I mean, you're the powered brains.
Yeah, like you.
Yes. He earns that title. That title. Dan Arestia, friend of the program. Dan, we want to get you on here soon. But let's hop into Q1. Let's talk all college lax before we get into, obviously, what happened with Champ Series. We're talking Princeton sweep. We're talking worst start with Maryland since 93. We're talking Virginia, just atomic, atrocious fall, and some other more stuff. But let's talk Princeton first. Beating both UNC and Cuse, the Princeton sweep. What was the biggest reason why Princeton got both of these W's, you think, Hogan?
I mean, Princeton looked unbelievable, and, we're going to start with Ryan Croddick. I mean, Ryan Croddick was absolutely unbelievable. Dukes, I saw your tweet earlier today talking about Croddick's. What do you have, 25 saves today? He was like 74% net.
Dude, I'll take it from there. It was, I think if you see this, right, and you see Ryan Croddick has 25 saves, 74 save percentage, you're like, wow, that's an amazing game. Who'd they play, Wagner? Like, no disrespect to Wagner, but, like, you could kind of put that together. This was against the number 1 team in the country. This was against UNC. This is against a team last week that I said had the best duo in the country. They have the best shooter in the country, in my opinion, in Dom Petramala, or one of at least. Like, This was no slouch of an offense, and UNC was hammering them with shots. It was one of the best goalie performances I've ever seen. And off the top of my head, maybe the best since, like, Dauber had 27 for St. Bonnie's.
Yep. I like that. And also, can we harp on something real quick? And I don't want this to get over face here, but Hoagie wasn't heavy on the Ivy League. I want to bring that up. I want to throw the pot here, Dukes, because he mentioned it in the group chat to us. Right. He had mentioned that this is not Ivy's year, and it's totally backfiring.
I never said it wasn't the Ivy's year.
Oh,
If we pull up the text, someone said, is the Ivy the best? Or is the Ivy better than the ACC? And I still say no. I think the Ivy's top heavy. It's not top to bottom as good as the ACC, in my opinion. I don't know.
I mean, time will tell. Time will obviously tell. But
the Ivy
what just happened this past weekend?
It's Princeton, Cornell, and Harvard. And then that's it.
Penn just took the Golden Boy.
Penn's not going to make the NCAA tournament. They've already lost to Georgetown, Syracuse, and UNC. They need to really have a renaissance if they want to make it. They got to pick up some wins.
They lost in overtime today to Syracuse. I know that obviously.
Yes, but if they had got those wins, yes, that's great. But I think top to bottom, still, I think the ACC from 1 to 5 is better and deeper than the Ivy at 1 to 7.
All right, so then let me pose you this question. Let me pose you this. Buy or sell, you two, Doogs, you answer first. Buy or sell, the Ivy League will have more teams in the quarterfinals than the ACC.
Yeah, Mitch. That's a fantastic question that I can't even answer right now, but I'm going to because it's a podcast and I have to give an answer. I'm going to go yeah.
You're buying it. I like that. I like that. I like that a lot.
I think the top three from who am I thinking off the top of my head for the Ivies? I think Harvard absolutely can. Yep. I think Princeton absolutely will. Yep. Cornell, I think will figure it out. Like not even figure it out. They just lost to a really good team by 1 yesterday.
Yep.
I'm telling you, man. Also, I know Penn won't make it probably because also you'd have to win the Ivy League, and Hogan does make a great point. ACC will get more top win opportunities that are like push them to the top. Penn is really good in the sense of
they're really good. They are
in the sense of how bad they were.
They needed to steal some of those.
They were so bad last year, and just Taylor Ray is such a fantastic coach. Like anybody that watched them this weekend in this ACC Ivy Challenge would see how big of a leap they took from last year to this year. They're just so much more organized. Like Griffin Skane, even he's a player I could see playing in Champ Series next year.
100%. I mean, they look great. I mean, the Ivy, it's going to be something special. I mean, again, we always talk about, and what Hoagie and I learned playing at Ohio State is February lacrosse essentially doesn't mean a lot. But at the same time, these wins that Princeton went out carry and Ohio State went out carry with the Georgetown win, like that will be talked about with Donna in May. Those things will be brought up in the selection show.
I mean, if we're going, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say just like even on like the line of Princeton too. When we're just going back to Craddock for a second, when you talk about how well he's performed against Syracuse and UNC, he had 39 total saves this weekend, 70.9 save percentage. Against Penn State and Maryland, he had 19 total saves, 43.2 save percentage.
Yeah.
So like, this is right. Like, is Princeton gonna go as far as Craddock goes? Which kind of Craddock are we going to expect week in, week out? And I know that we'll dive into the UNC-Princeton game a little bit more in a little bit, but those stats to me just are like, which Princeton are we going to get week to week?
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I'm talking about Princeton, I think obviously Craddock's been amazing, and we were expecting him to be an All-American level type player heading into the season, and, he showed in, these 2 games on Friday and Sunday, like, that's his potential, and that's what he can be, and honestly, he didn't maybe have the greatest start in the first 2 games, but he can make a lot of big-time saves. Like, even in that Maryland game, his stats weren't great if you looked in the box score, but he made a ton of big saves, including at the end against Stowball to not make that game go to overtime. But to me, like Princeton, they had that rough week 1 game against Penn State, which clearly now, looking back on it, it was Princeton's first game. The Ivy League start later in the year. It's harder for them to get high-level scrimmages against teams, and Penn State already had 2 full games under their belt kind of thing, but the biggest thing to me about Princeton, what's really unlocked this team, is Chad Palumbo moving down to attack and moving Peter Bonanno up to midfield. Coach Madeline made that move ahead of the Maryland game, so they're 3-0 now with Chad Palumbo down at attack. He has been a huge key in really unlocking this offense and kind of getting it to where we expected it to be. We had questions in the offseason, who is going to replace Coulter Maxey. People thought it was Peter Bonanno. People thought it was Chad Palumbo. They rolled with Bonanno week 1, and then they switched to Chad Palumbo from Maryland on. And clear now that Chad Palumbo's got to be down there at attack, and it's totally changed the whole outlook and trajectory of this Princeton offense and team.
Could not agree more. I think that Palumbo is like this perfect. He's a perfect PLL player in the sense like we see these guys that have come from midfield that are like, have attack qualities. He's so big. He's so slick. He does so much for the Princeton offense. I want to go touch on their defense. Jack Stahl, long pole for them. Duffy had 4 points today, but he held them to 1 of 11 shooting. I think Duffy had like a couple turnovers too. Absolutely shut down Spallina. Mm-hmm. And that's someone he's turning into like an elite cover guy, I think, for the Princeton Tigers. I think Princeton is so good. Now, if I could go into this a little bit, can I dive in a little bit to UNC Princeton?
Dive.
Yeah, let's do that.
Look, Princeton's great. Top 5 team, no doubt. They should get votes for number 1 team in the country. My biggest takeaway from the entire game is UNC, I think, is the best team in the country still. Like, I know that as a voter, you should not vote them number 1, but I became away more impressed with UNC. You're talking
Why is
about
that?
25 saves, 75 save percentage. Like, how often does that happen? And it's not like I'm saying like Craddock isn't that goalie but that's not going to happen week in, week out. Like I think if you play that game 10 times, UNC wins 8, 9. I just like even at the end of the game, UNC took the lead. They were up 9-8, and Craddock had 8 saves in like the final 8 minutes. It was an unbelievable goalie experience. Completely stole the game away from them. I do expect both these teams to be like automatically into the quarterfinals, barring no injuries. I really don't. Like I think that we're looking at 2 of the top teams in the country, but I don't think I look at UNC any differently.
With Princeton though, the aspect of Craddock just being that guy, are they potentially on fraud alert with it's really how he plays depending on that team?
It's too early to tell from my opinion, right?
Okay.
Like, I think that offensively, they're unlocked. Like, they did, even just against the UNC defense, like they did put up 11 goals. Like, I'm looking at like that, putting up, it was 11-9, right? Correct? Yeah, 11-9.
Yep. Today, 11-9,
so, like, right. Yep. Like, the offense held their own. 11 goals is 11 goals. But what UNC was unleashing and that would, like, Craddock was stopping, like, it looked like it could have been 14-11. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's just, like, that's kind of where that's where I kind of stood. And also, I think a big equalizer, anytime that you're going to be able to neutralize Brady Wambach, like Princeton was, Meekin, who is a stud, didn't even necessarily have his best game from the faceoff stripe. And Hogan, I think that, I don't know the kid's name, maybe you could help me out, but the backup faceoff guy had
Russ
a little bit
Fitzgerald, he's jacked. Big guy, freshman, high recruit,
basically kind of neutralized him. Like I think even like with like going into the fourth quarter, it was like 50-50 basically. Maybe Wambach like edged it a little bit more in the fourth quarter, but like if you're going to UNC and you have basically neutralized Wambach and you have a 70% save percentage, you're gonna win that game most of the time. Like any lacrosse club come, even Ohio State could beat them.
See, I mean, look, I feel the opposite of Doogs. I think Princeton's the number 1 team in the country right now. I know, given the loss against Penn State, I think Princeton's the number 1 team in the country right now, given what they've looked like. We've seen now, it wasn't just one game against Maryland. We've seen it 3 games in a row now of like what this team's true potential is. They have by far the best resume in the country in terms of wins. And, you have the number 1 team in the country win this weekend. You have, the win over Penn. You have the win last week against Maryland for me. And then on the flip side for UNC, I think UNC showed me what they are. I know what UNC is. I think I'm going to know what to expect. I watched the Penn game Friday, the Princeton game this weekend. I think the UNC that you saw this weekend is the UNC you're going to see all year long. Now, can that take them to championship weekend? Yes. But I think it's pretty clear how you beat North Carolina, and you got to neutralize Duffy and Dom, and that's going to get you the key to success. I think their team lacks a little bit of kind of that upside. I kind of feel like the team we see now is the North Carolina team we're going to see in May.
100%. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how UNC can do it. Dukes, last point before we hop to Maryland.
Yeah, I completely disagree. I was going to say something else, but now I'll go into this. These freshman midfielders, I mean, they saw 7 different point scorers alone today. I think like someone like Grady Merrill, they're only going to get better as the season goes on. I don't think that they're really neutralized. Dom was a bit today, but he still had 2 goals. Duffy still had four points today total, and Dom went off on Saturday. I still think that they're the best duo in the country. And I just want to clarify, if I was a voter, I'd probably give my vote to Notre Dame or Princeton. But I think the best team in the country, I think leaving that. We're rewarding good losses last week, but now we're not when they lose on the road in Princeton after having to travel from Philly to New Jersey.
If I had to vote, Princeton's number 1 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I like that. I mean, these won't be the last time we talk about these teams. These 3 teams could potentially be in the Final Four as well. But Maryland, the biggest probably surprise so far of any team, the worst start since 1993. The Maryland Terrapins are currently 1-3. The conspiracy last weekend, Hogan, I want to start there. Do we think it was true now looking back? And ultimately, do you think that was a big aspect of how the game turned out?
I mean, I don't know if it was ultimately true. I mean, I heard a lot of things after, the clip came out. I got some DMs about people saying it was something with, ACC Network, something with the deal and, recording. I heard some people say it was budget issues, which to me, I don't buy the budget issue thing. I mean, it's Notre Dame. It's one of the richest athletic departments in the world. If they want the game filmed, they can get it filmed. So to me, it was either Corrigan didn't want it filmed, or it was something with ACC Network / ESPN where it was like, if we can't broadcast it, nobody can. But still, the conspiracy's still out there because no one ever came out and said why. It could have been Notre Dame like, hey, due to these issues, we can't film. It would have ended it. But then I had a lot of people, Mitch, you even received an email from someone saying, thinking that that Hoagie was on it and right. So I don't know. We still don't have it confirmed, but either way, if it didn't help. Notre Dame got the win, showed up at College Park. They'll be number one tomorrow. If we're being real, Notre Dame will most likely, I'd say, be number one tomorrow morning. And you know what? Number one's gone down 3 weeks in a row. And you know what? It'll be fourth after next weekend because Notre Dame's heading to Columbus. They're going to take an L. The Buckeyes are coming in, and the Buckeyes are going to have 4 straight weeks.
And Doogs, the alumni are picking the Buckeyes. So don't even ask the question because I'm going to get out in front of it. I'm going to get out in front of it. Perfect. Don't even need to concern yourself.
We still can't let this thing go. You know, I see Alex Marnier in the stands after this big Georgetown win, and he goes, picked us this week, Hoagie. Thanks, man. Like it's still in the back of their mind after last year, even this year. Like the first thing he says to me is, "I saw you picked us this week." I'm like, "I got you, Marnie. All right."
The alumni, the current players don't forget. I know Nick Myers does not forget as well, but we'll kind of get to the Ohio State.
It's crazy work. You guys just don't pick them. You guys just have to pick them like every single time. I still can't believe we're not.
No. We're media members. We don't need to get into it. We've already been into it. But Doogs, hit us. Again, I said 1-3, worst start since 1993. 1993.
Can I put this into perspective?
1993. Yeah. Hook us up.
Let's put this into perspective. Last time Maryland started 1-3, Marissa Tomei won Best Actress for My Cousin Vinny. Mitch definitely hasn't seen that. I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston was Billboard #1 hit. Bill Clinton, the Clinton admin, 2 months into his first term, legend, some might say not. John Tillman was an assistant at Ithaca. The Brine Edge and Offset Heads were 2 years from being introduced. Paul Rabel hadn't even picked up a stick yet.
Wow.
It's 1993.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Crazy
let me ask you
perspective.
guys this. Are we seeing, and I want to get your honest opinion. Don't say it's too early, and that might be the case, but are we seeing a potential change with the Terps? I mean, I know Spanos' injury, and we don't know, but not to say is this a downfall, but are we seeing tides turning a little bit kind of Alabama football and new people coming to the top?
No.
Hell no.
People are freaking out way too much, and I honestly, if I'm a Maryland fan or I'm a player, I love it because all the Terps have ever been since you're a Maryland player, it's like Ohio State, Alabama football. Like the spotlight's always on you, the pressure's always on you, and this is the first time Maryland doesn't have the X on their back. Like they may each game, I'm saying, but in terms of nationally, the expectations, everyone's hopping off the wagon, and I know me, and I think Doogs will agree with me. I'll stay on and keep hopping on even more if I have to take laps around on the Maryland wagon. People are freaking out. This is the first time John Tillman's ever lost 3 games in a row as head coach at Maryland. They've lost 3 games to the team who's going to be #1 tomorrow morning, the team who was #1 at the time, or #2 at the time, on the road at Syracuse in the Dome. Okay, and then they lost to Princeton, who I have as #1. So they've lost to 3 of the top teams in the country by a couple goals. They lost 11-8 this week. It's not like they're losing these games, 13-4, 13-6. That's where I panic if I'm a Maryland fan. They've been in all these games. They need to figure out, Spanos' injuries had a little bit of a concern. The offense, to me, doesn't have a go-to guy right now. They kind of have a couple guys, and no one really wants to be give me the ball. I'm your #1. Let me make a play. And I think that's causing a little bit of issues. There's a mix of young guys. So I think people are freaking out way too much, putting way too much stock into Maryland. Maryland will be in Charlottesville. I'm going to tell you that right now. The death tax is Maryland Final Four. So
wow. Let's stick on that real quick. Let's stick on that. If Tills, a.k.a. John Saban, makes it to the championship weekend after this start, would this be his greatest coaching achievement yet?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
No, people
You're
he lost to 3 of the top teams in the country. I mean, to me, it'd be one thing if they had lost to someone like Delaware who they play this weekend and then lost 14-4 to Notre Dame. And then people are like, whoa, this team just doesn't have it. This team is this close already with not being complete. The minute that Tills is in the lab and identifies what that tiny little thing is that they need to fix, then that's the moment that this whole thing switches. You heard what Rambo said last week when we talked to him on the podcast, right? He said Tillman's going to look at the film. He's going to say, oh, look, we need to work on outside shooting. We need to work on feeding. We need to work on this. Like, he's going to find what's that little thing that's not going right for us right now, and he's going to fix that. And by the end of the year, I think Maryland's going to be peaking at the perfect time come May.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you even see the press conference where he walked in and he's like, yeah, no players today. They're having a players only meeting. I mean, season is like we're building up to a perfect boiling point where Hoagie's got Marnie like coming into the stands being like, thanks for picking to us. Like there's going to come a point where like, I don't know where on the schedule the Buckeyes and the Terps meet, but where the Terps are reaching the right time. The Buckeyes are going to have to like beat them to be like to go back to back in the Big Ten, and Hoagie's going to be picking the Terps. And we're going to be like, oh my God, we're right back. And we're going to be like, oh, Hoagie might just be a Terps guy.
Well, let's stay on that. Like right now, are you picking Maryland? Are you still picking Maryland to be your Big Ten champs?
As of right now?
Yes.
Am I still picking Maryland to win the Big Ten as of today? Yes, I am picking Maryland to win the Big Ten as of today still.
I don't think I am, honestly.
Who are you taking?
I'm picking Ohio State. And not saying because of
I
my
think that's a totally valid thing. Ohio State got their first big win of the weekend, a big win of the year, right? Like they were fairly unproven coming in this weekend. Got a big win on the road at Georgetown. Huge win. But, you got to see
program defining
this week's stuck. It's not program defining. You know what? We're the defending Big Ten champs. Georgetown's a great win, but we're not celebrating it like a Super Bowl. We'll go play Notre Dame next week.
Yeah,
then
we'll beat them. Their alumni will pick them, and it'll be a great day. Like at the end of the day, that's what we do.
Yeah, all right. And I want to say something going off this. This is perfect for a Tillman stat. No team has won the D1's men's national championship after starting 1-3. Only one team has made it to the championship game after starting 1-3. That was Princeton in 2002. Shout out Zach Carey, finding those stats.
Yep.
I'm more concerned overall. I know that we're talking about like they don't really have alphas. I still don't think that Maryland needs alphas in the offense that they play. Like you don't need an 80-point scorer to be efficient. Like they have like if you look up at the stats, they have like 5 guys that are just evenly like distributing points across the board. Their short stick D-midi unit is a little bit worrisome to me, and their overall cohesion on defense, which I might think can be attributed to losing your back-end general in Logan McNaney. I'm still not putting the sole blame on Rupel. You might have to make a switch just to switch something up, but I don't think it's because of him. I think it's the fact that they played 3 really, really good teams. And also, I want to shout out UNC in 2016, which I'm going to look at this Maryland team as my team now going forward as this is a team that I think could figure it out at the right time, and they have the talent to kind of make a run. Like they could be an unseeded team that really starts to get the legs going. 2016 UNC, they started 2-4. They had wins against Michigan, which started the season with a win over Michigan, which just started their program. Furman, which just started its program. Then they lost to Hofstra 10-5. They beat Hop 15-11, and then they lost to Denver and UMass. So they lost to 2 CAA teams that year, 2-4. And again, 2 of those 3 wins were against teams that had started their programs less than like 5 years earlier. So
that's a stat and a half.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah. I'm not worried about Maryland. I think it's going to be good. I think Ohio State, though, Big Tasty's the best goalie in the country, and he is going to be someone that's going to be tough to beat because he can help this Ohio State defense and this team in so many big ways. I mean, he made so many saves this weekend.
So, Hoagie, let's stay there. Are you putting Big Tasty over what we just talked about with Princeton and Chronic?
Am I taking Big Tasty over Chronic?
Yes.
Yes. Big Tasty's the best goalie in college lacrosse.
It's really hard for me to say anybody's better than Chronic right now when Chronic's played 4 games, and I think I just said he saw that was one of the best goalie performances I've seen in the last 5 years.
Yep.
PLL included.
Interesting.
That's a great question. I think Tasty might be a little bit more steady from everything that I've seen. Tasty's legit.
Tasty's just so consistent. He always makes the saves he's supposed to, and he makes a ton of big ones in big moments when you need it. And this Ohio State defense is so good. I mean, Cullen Brown, to me, is going to be unbelievable in the PLL. I'm telling you, he's going to get passed on. He's going to be a 2nd or 3rd round pick, and teams are going to regret not taking Cullen Brown. You want to talk about a guy who's perfect for the PLL? Cullen Brown, up and down the field in transition, unbelievable. So the Ohio State defense already one of the strongest in the country. Griffin Lidl's been great. Johnny Cool, Kyle Foster. The D-Middies, they're already one of the best units, even without Bob Van Buren. But then you add in that extra layer of having Big Tasty that when the defense does break down or someone miscommunicates, he can bail you out. And that's how you become really tough to beat, and why Ohio State is going to be one of the best teams and one of the harder teams to beat, because they're going to be in every game that they play. And this defense is going to be so locked that when they do kind of give something up, Big Tasty's going to be there to bail him out. And this offense is going to have, to me, a little bit more. They're going to grow a little bit. You got Marnier. Melendez is still trying to find his footing on where he is in this team. 𝐓𝐇𝐄 is a 5-star freshman attackman who's young. He's got a ton of potential. He's still getting comfortable in this offense. Liam White looks great. So Ohio State, you asked me, Mitch, about the Big Ten. I think Ohio State definitely is right there, nipping at the butts at Maryland. I think it's really close. If you ask me today, I'm still going with Maryland, but if you check back in a couple weeks, that might change after we see more of Ohio State and how they kind of evolve against Notre Dame, Denver, and then into Big Ten play.
Before we hop to Hopkins and UVA, Doogs, what do you got?
Yeah, I think that Hogs program-defining win yesterday against Georgetown, clearly. Really want to go back to this program-defining win. Let's pull up the tweet from a couple weeks ago when we were talking about Syracuse, Maryland, all this chatter. Hogan was getting shit on Twitter for calling the Syracuse versus Maryland game a program-defining win. Now, I wasn't going to hop on Hoagie and go after the kid after a tweet like that. But after Maryland's start to the season, after Syracuse, is squeaking out a shaky win against Penn, do we still want to call that a program-defining win, or where are we standing on the program-defining win that Syracuse had?
When I said program-defining win in another tweet that I will talk about, right? When I say
remember, point the thumb.
I'll point the thumb, but sometimes people take things not into consideration. When I mean program defining, Syracuse, the most iconic college lacrosse player of all time. People are saying they have more banners and wins than, blah, 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 my lifetime. I understand that. They're one of the greatest and the best programs in college lacrosse, of course. But let's be real. In the last 20 years, they've won one national championship in 2009, been to championship weekend twice. And any of those big games that they were in against a team like Maryland, whole eyes of the lacrosse world watching you. Top 5 matchup, they never pulled those wins out. They always lost those games. They were never the team to win and make that big moment. So for me, that was a program-defining moment for Syracuse, for Gary Gait. That was the biggest win of Gary Gait's career at Syracuse. And to me, that was a win that for Syracuse showed, hey, we can compete and keep going, because anytime Cuse had been in that moment in the past, they lost that big game. So people are coming at me about championships in the 90s and the 80s, and I know how iconic Syracuse is.
You're gonna say that him beating a 1-3 Maryland team in like week 2 at home is a bigger win for his resume than last year quarterfinals going to the first Final Four.
I think it was. I think that was the biggest win of Gary.
Wow. Do you think situations like this are the situations that are holding you back from wearing the crown of lacrosse Twitter?
Yes.
No.
Yes. This is why Dan Rusty has it right now.
Because I think I bring honest thoughts and honest takes that people on Twitter don't want to give takes. They just want to give information or thoughts.
I'm going to be the one out there. I'm going to be the one, Mitch.
Do you
like the aspect that Doogs has Dan Aresti at number 1 on Lax Twitter?
I mean, you got to respect what Dan's doing. He's got everything on lock from, D3 to Division II club.
So you're essentially saying you like second place.
No, I don't like second place. I'm not saying I like second place.
Mitch, he doesn't like things handed to him. He knows I'm his boy. Yeah. He doesn't want me to hand him over the crown. He doesn't want the nepotism. He wants to earn it.
On Twitter, I'm going to give my personal thoughts, and if people want to come at me or it gets me in some hot water, sometimes people saying I say something wrong or right, fine. I'm going to give my honest takes. If I have a hot take or thought, I'm going to tweet it. I'm not scared about that. So, you know what? Maybe that puts me on fire sometimes, but I'm going to give you my honest thoughts that some other people on Twitter aren't going to give you thoughts. They're just going to give you
King of Lax Twitter here soon.
I'm going to give you information and hot takes.
You just mentioned somebody that is a program that's historical in the sport of lacrosse. Another historical program is Hopkins, baby. A win that Hopkins just had. Historical win. I mean, can we chat on this real quick? I thought this was going to be a big moment for UVA this year. They needed a sort of win. Yeah. We've not been talked about Hopkins at all this year because we didn't think they were going to be anything special. But for UVA to lose in a atrocious fashion like they did against Hopkins, this is concerning, like the downfall of UVA right now, I feel like. And we're not talking about enough because we're kind of hitting the big dogs right now. But, like, what's going on in Charlottesville, Dukes? What's the focus? What's the reason?
Man.
Is there any insider there? Do we know anything?
look, I'm not the insider here. Hoagie's stealing he's like, it's like the soldier boy. Like, he got my whole fucking flow. Bar for bar, word for word. Like, I'm the hot takes guy. I'm the guy with the takes. He's the insider. So if he has anything in Charlottesville, I'd love to hear it. But from my perspective, I just have questions that I want to raise. Like, you had Shelley, you went to the Final Four 2 years ago. You know, McCabe was a freshman. You got Brendan Millen coming in now. You had McCabe last year in his first year, is kind of having the keys to the offense. Didn't go as planned. I think McCabe probably played better than people might give him credit for, or give him flack for. But I want to start question again. Is Lars just a Sean Kerwin merchant? And I want to question not Lars, the head coach, and his coaching ability. Everyone has their thing. Tillman has the iPad, right?
Yep.
Like, we thought it was Lars and his stick. But was it just Lars and Sean Kerwin, right? Like, you're looking at the winning percentage with Sean Kerwin.
Or was it Connor Schellenberger, the greatest player in program history?
But you also had the years with Ian Laviano. You had the years with Matt Moore, Ryan Conrad.
Yep.
You had Dylan Malloy. You had Brown. This is longer than just Connor Schellenberger, right? Like, with Sean Kerwin,
true.
Lars has
That
a
is very
74%
true.
win percentage, 4 Final Fours, 2 national championships. Without Sean Kerwin, he has 57.7 win percentage, 1 Final Four, which was Shelley's senior year, right? Like,
wow.
So that sustained success after, right? Shelley could have been holding on to it because he was, you know, a protege or a mentee of Sean Kerwin, but I think there's deeper questions to be looked at. And then the hiring of Cassis, right? Like, I'm not here to say that Cassis isn't a good offensive mind, not a good offensive coach. I'm here to say that whatever it is, personnel-wise, coaching, outdated philosophies, it's not working right now in Charlottesville. And the recruiting methods that worked in that run from 2018 to 2014 isn't carrying over to this new offense. And I'm questioning. I'm not putting the coach, Lars Tiffany, on the hot seat, right? I'm putting Lars Tiffany, the CEO, who has to handle recruiting and the head assistant coaches. And reminder, Kip Turner out last year, right?
Yes.
Kip Turner, who was the assistant coach. So there's really no assistants right now that are really hanging on from these runs. Logan Greco, he was on the 2019 national championship team, and I know that he's one of the assistant coaches. But there's really a whole different lookout in this locker room.
And I want to
maybe upgrade Shelley.
I want to hit on the recruiting piece from you because high school guy doing this on the recruiting side. They have no 5 stars in the 2027 class. They're juniors in high school. They have some time to come. But for the fans out there who don't know, I think in the past 8 years, they've had 6 of those years were number 1 recruits. Ryan Dunkel, Griffin Schutz, Connor Schellenberger, McCabe, Brendan. I mean, they've had every sort of number 1 recruit. And in 27, they have 0 5 stars. They have 3 players in the top 100 for 2027. Like, that does not happen in Virginia. On top of that, with the 5 stars that they've recruited, with these number 1 overall players that they've gotten in the past years, they might have overlooked the defensive position. Like, that's a big aspect where they're not coming to the table this year. They have Schroeder, Riverside guy. Don't forget about it. But that's really it on the defensive side. Do you think that's a downfall of, like, maybe the past years kind of catching up to them with only recruiting offensive talent?
I'll jump in here really quick. I think that, I mean, you just remember that their defense for years was just California Redwoods, like just like the tallest players, like Cade Sawstad. Like you had Cole Kastner, like just these lanky guys that could just eat up so much ground. And they just like have gone away from. They transitioned their offense from like running guns to like the Sean Kerwin like modern offense that you've seen like in the last couple of years. I don't know what the answer is. I'm just a lacrosse podcaster. I love lacrosse. I'm not here to fix Virginia's problems in Charlottesville, but I think the recruiting thing is true. I remember when I was doing the Crease Dive, I did an interview with McCabe Millen, and I was like joking around. I was like, "Do you guys all have like a group chat for all the number 1 recruits?" Because there was just so many.
So many.
You could make like a 50-person group me of just the number 1 recruits, and it was year after year. When you look at the 27 class, and like I'm not a recruiting guy, if I know that the 27 class doesn't have any 5 stars and that like a couple people slip through their fingers, we got a major problem in Charlottesville.
Yeah. But honestly, if you're let's play this game real quick. If you're a 26 or 27 recruit and you're a 5-star in the 26 class, does that worry you at all about like, man, should I start thinking about a different decision on where my college lies?
Can I say something that I think will give Virginia a little bit of hope is I look at someone like Bresci, and I'm not even like saying that like he's completely saved himself yet. Like he's still got like a ways to go for me to be like, all right, UNC is safe, they're back. We just got out of February.
Yep.
But how he was able to take over the recruiting cycle over the last couple of years and resurrect the program or start looking like, okay, we can see the vision. Lars can get that piece back. Like,
well, I would say this. There's a massive piece of this pie that we don't know, and that's the NIL aspect that these schools have money, don't have money, right? You look at Ohio State, they might have a ton of money. You look at a UVA or UNC, might not have a lot of money, but like none of us really know the picture and where that lies. So like the recruiting stays the same, right? The history of the UNC, UVA is always going to be there, but now it's a different story. When Hoagie and I were getting recruited to Ohio State, there wasn't any talks about money involved. And now, like, if I'm a 5-star, I'm going to the schools, I'm like, oh, coaches are awesome, guys are great, facilities are sick. What does the NIL opportunity look like? And, like, at the end of the day, like, we're not seeing these $1 million deals in football and basketball, but, like, what is that going to look like? And I don't know the answer right now.
Yeah,
I wonder what program.
That is interesting. The whole NIL piece is definitely an interesting thing in college sports, and especially in a sport like lacrosse that's not a non-revenue sport and maybe don't have tons of funding. Like how much do some teams have zero NIL, some teams have X amount, so on and so forth. But going back to your point too, we're talking about like Sean Kerwin, Murcha, we're talking about Shelley, Rode, all those guys. To me, the biggest thing for UVA that got those 2 NCAA championships, a lot of the Final Four and winning, was having a solid goalie. Alex Rode, to me, was maybe the difference in the beginning of those years at Virginia. And having a good goalie carries you so far. I mean, we're talking about Croddick, Big Tasty. You can't win a championship without a top-tier level goalie. I mean, if you look, Matthew Nunes had a great start to his career, kind of a shaky end. He was a high recruit coming in, but he kind of maybe, didn't live up to the, what Rode was. And then obviously with Kyle Morris and so on and so forth this year, it's the same kind of thing where the goalie play is really holding this team back. Alex Rode was such a big piece to those Virginia teams in how good he was in those national championship games. Unbelievable player. Look at the last teams in the national championship. Maryland the last couple of years. Logan McNaney. Who else you have on there? Who've won national championships? Notre Dame, Liam Entenmann. Like the teams who are winning the championships are at the top, if not the best, if not like one of the top 3, 4, 5 goalies in the country. So like that to me has been the position that's really hurt them. They have had the offense, and I know they might not have the tall trees like Duke says with like the Sauce dads, the 6, 7 guys on a D, but the goalie position has been a huge struggle. Last year, it is a massive issue once again, and I think more than anything, that's what's been holding these Virginia teams back as of late.
Yeah, and I think 100%. That when you're talking about Virginia really quick and like how good that they like, I thought that McCabe and Brendan, like you saw it in the first half. Like let's just talk about how good they looked, and you're like, I even tweeted out like Lars Tiffany AI photo, like my death has been largely exaggerated, and then the collapse.
I do want to touch on, before we pivot, I do want to touch on Hopkins. You got to give Hopkins their flowers for coming in that game. Orange Linus, everyone saw the videos of him going crazy after the game. They were down 11-4 late in that game. They ended the game on a 10-2 run to steal that win in Charlottesville. Hopkins, you got to talk about their resiliency coming out after getting a tough loss, getting blown out by Carolina a week ago, to then be down a ton again this week, and you're looking like, all right, Milliman's getting the cut. He's done here. And then just that classic meme of kicking the coffin up and getting out of the grave. Like, for Hopkins just comes out of nowhere, 10-2 run to finish it, steals one. They have Syracuse at Homewood this weekend. If they beat Syracuse at Homewood this weekend, that would be a wild story.
Yeah, that would totally continue to shake up the lacrosse world. And, I mean, I don't even know what to say about Hopkins. Like, is this a fluke? Is this actually them? Are they actually in the conversation? I mean, Hunter Chalvet had 6 goals, like Orange Linus and Cage. Like, Doogs, where do you stand with Hopkins currently?
Yeah, I think that we got our answer on Hopkins. Hunter Chalvet is so good at lacrosse. Like, that's my answer. They have Collison, Orange Linus, they made that change, right? Like, I didn't even see it. Like, someone texted me, Jake Malasek, actually, talking about great goalies coming out of Virginia. He texted me, Hopkins goalie yanked, within 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, shit. So they, made the change. I just think that I saw the second half, the fourth quarter comeback. I thought Virginia kind of had it in the barn. watch the fourth quarter. Hop played their balls off. They played like they wanted it more. It looked like Virginia took their foot off the gas. Virginia played like they didn't want to lose, not that they wanted to win, right? Like they just were trying to play conservative. Thought it was a coaching malpractice, to be honest, like taking the air out of the ball. Like, keep going. You don't have this game won, and I think that happens a lot. Like, where the coaches try to slow it down, and they're not playing to what got them the lead in the first place.
Yeah, and
it's tough.
Virginia's put themselves in a really tough spot for the NCAA tournament. Their only marquee game out of conference left is Maryland, and you got to assume that's going to be a very hungry Maryland team. They play in 2 weeks, and then the ACC play. I mean, you got to assume maybe they can get a win, but they could look at, a 1-3, 0-4 possible ACC schedule, and then obviously like the other games, High Point, Drexel, Utah, like that's not going to get you in the tournament. So their backs are against the wall. If anything, they might be almost out of it if they lose to Maryland. But what sucks, because obviously they're hosting championship weekend in their backyard in the shadows of Klockner at the football stadium. So how bad they want to be in it and be there, and it would be tough for Lars to kind of be there on championship weekend with his team kind of not being anywhere near getting in it.
Yep, yeah. I got Doogs, last point on you, and then we'll chat quickly on Ohio State-Georgetown.
This reminds me of, do you guys remember after those Yale teams? I'm talking like the Ben Reeves, that 2017, I'll even go earlier. I'm talking like Brandon Mangan, like 2014. Yale had this identity to them that Andy Shea built throughout the years, that they were just tough, gritty, and it just seniors downward, like all identified with this team. Then COVID hit, and they lost that identity a little bit, and they're kind of unraveled into what we're kind of seeing Yale today. Virginia's losing the identity that they've kind of built over the years. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the coaching changes, but it's something that I'm kind of noticing. I do think one thing to harp on in this game, Brendan Millen went down to attack, which I think was a great move. I mean, we obviously saw like the offense got theirs. It was a pretty high scoring game. So that's something I'm keeping an eye on. I don't think it's all the sky is falling completely in Charlottesville, but it's definitely something to monitor. I'm excited to see the Millen brothers kind of work.
Yes, 100%. Georgetown, Ohio State. Hoagie, give us one solid point about Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said before, Big Tasty and this defense is awesome. But I also think if we're going to, everyone's always going to talk about the defense and Tasty when you're talking about Ohio State. So I'm going to kind of try and talk on the flip side of that. Garrett Haas isn't the most fast player. He's not the most electric player. He's not the best at shooting. He's not the best at one specific thing. But he's the quarterback and the key to that Ohio State offense, and he's clutch. He led the team with 4 points this weekend, had that big goal to get the go-ahead winning goal with about 1:20 left. Garrett Haas is maybe the most underrated player in the entire Big Ten in terms of offensively, what he brings to this Ohio State team. This Ohio State offense and team looks a lot different when Garrett Haas is not in it. So Garrett Haas, to me, most underrated player in the Big Ten. He's been awesome for Ohio State for the last couple of years. Obviously a big leader on this team, Mitch, and I think he's kind of one of those guys that we talk about the defense, but I think the offense and Ohio State's season is going to depend on how well Garrett Haas plays down the stretch.
100%.
I can't say anything nice?
You can. No, you can.
Okay, fine. All right. I think that the Buckeyes are back. Like I think that they look like they're good enough again to get the doors beat off them by Notre Dame in the quarterfinals.
Here he sets it up, Mitch.
Sets it up. He's trying to be a nice guy. Folks, you think he's a nice guy. He's not.
Mitch,
you think he's a nice guy.
I'm trying to think, Mitch, how do we reverse psychology and have to pick Notre Dame again to get the win? Because now I'm nervous. I pick Ohio State, and then we lose. Dude's going to come cackling on Monday. So I don't know. From a mental aspect of psychology, how do we approach this weekend?
We'll talk. We'll be on site, Champ Series. We'll chat it through. We'll be there either having some beers or be in depression mode. Dukes, finish us on the college segment regarding something we've seen on social about the beautiful preseason rankings.
Dude, I'm done. We're talking about Ohio State, Georgetown. What was Georgetown ranked preseason? 5? Get rid of preseason rankings. They don't mean anything. These wins that Hoagie was telling me last week, like, oh, they have the best win of the season. And I agree with you on paper. Yeah, beating Maryland was good. But who was even saying that Maryland's good? Like, a bunch of people that are just guessing. we don't know anything until after February, at least. So get rid of preseason rankings. None of this matters. You don't know what good wins are until the end of February anyways. Like, we're talking about, like, the Maryland wins. It's like, last week Kev voted for Syracuse. I think rightfully so, if you have the mindset of last week being like, Maryland was the best win of the season. Now it's like, when Notre Dame beats Maryland, it's like, well, it's not the best win of the season. So, like, just over 1 week, that's how much it's changed. I think abolish it, not only for college lacrosse, abolish preseason rankings in every single sport. When you're looking at the top 4 out of the 5, and I'll leave out Princeton of this out of the 4 or 5, 4 out of the 5 preseason teams, they're 9-8. They're 9-8, and they're one overtime loss away from Penn from being 8-9. Like 4 out of the 5 teams, overall combined record. It's just asinine. And you look at someone like the Buckeyes, who had a great season last year, and I'm not even trolling at this point, and they beat Georgetown. It's like, why weren't the Buckeyes like why were they not considered for the top 5? I just think the preseason rankings are so dumb. Like, get rid of them.
Look, it's a media play. That's obviously for us to start the conversation for chatter. But Hoagie, one final point here.
Yeah, no, I agree with Dukes. I mean, obviously, I like the preseason rankings. I think it's great to build hype. I think it's great to, kind of see where these teams coming in, kind of build anticipation for a lot of matchups. But, yeah, I think it skews the top 20 and the top 10 because there's a precedent set that, this team started, 4 through 8 in the rankings, so they can't really keep dropping farther back, if that makes sense. They're always kind of staying in that thing. And it goes back to my point of last week where, like, UNC to me last week was just ranked 1 because they were the closest team to 1, and they were, all right, well, they lost and they lost. Okay, UNC's 3rd. They're the next team up. Let's move them up, kind of like a, conveyor belt in a factory. All right, who's next man up? And why people, when I had Harvard ranked number 1, that I said should be number 1 that week, and people along Twitter, too, some people said Harvard should be ranked higher. People were like, Harvard can't possibly be number 1. Why can't they possibly be number 1? Because they started at 14 in the rankings. So people are like, well, they can't go from 14 to 1. Whereas if, let's just say, no teams were ranked after last weekend and you had a top 3, I think everyone would have Harvard in the top 3. Say we didn't have any rankings after the Syracuse game. But because they were so far back, there's no possible way that they're 14 and then all of a sudden they beat the number 1 team, they can go up. You know what I mean? So that's where the preseason rankings really skew the whole thing.
Definitely.
I also don't think that anyone should be ranked last week. Like, you should have at least 5 games played before we can judge you. Because then it's like, you played 3 games, and we're only going to rank you ahead of someone because you got more opportunities than the other team that we're trying to grade each other on. That's not fair either.
And I also don't think, we're talking about all these rankings stuff, I don't think you should look at records. Like, I have people saying, well, Princeton can't possibly be 1 because they lost and these other teams haven't lost yet. It's like, no, let's look at right now who has the best wins and who looks the best in the country. I don't care if you have a loss and the other team has 0. If Princeton decided to play Robert Morris, they're 4-0 right now, and no one's debating this.
Yeah,
100%.
My last point.
Duke's last point?
My last point would just be, when you look at, like, Notre Dame, I know this is something I wanted to say again in the Maryland game. They kind of, like, that score looked closer than it actually was. Like, give Maryland credit, they fought back, but that game was over in the 4th quarter, like early 4th. It was 11-6. Anybody that was watching, like you put that to the side. I was watching Ohio State-Georgetown at that point.
100%. All right, well, that wraps up Kylie College Lax. Still crazy. Might get fizzled out next week. Again, we'll be on site at Champ Series. We're going to kick it to the St. James, where weekend 1 of Champ Series was. Dr. Kev and Doogs talking a little professional ball, but a word from our sponsor first. Duke Cannon makes high-quality grooming goods that keeps you dialed in. At work, at the gym, on the field, whether you're grinding through the day or running late to a lacrosse league game. Their products are built to keep up. Use code PLL2026 at DukeCannon.com for 15% off your order. Or find Duke Cannon grooming goods at Target, Walmart, or on Amazon.
All right, thanks, Mitch. We're here in D.C. at the St. James. I'm with Doogs. Before we jump into the Champ Series talk, I got to mention my number 1 pick will come out tonight. The votes will come out on Monday morning. I don't know who I'm going to go with yet. It won't be Syracuse. I promise you that.
Promise?
But I promise you it won't
Anything
be.
happen?
I'm between 3 teams. I'm between Princeton, Notre Dame, and Richmond. I haven't decided yet, but I'm leaning Princeton with those wins this weekend.
All right, I'll save my thoughts for the show. We're recording this for whatever. What's even the word?
For people who are watching later in the week when this comes out, this is recorded on Sunday.
Yeah, so. Sunday afternoon. We're recording Sunday night with the rest of the crew.
Yeah, my vote's got to be in tonight.
Yeah, Kev won't be there. I will. So you hear my thoughts. But yeah, PLL, WLL, Sixes action.
Yeah, so the first week of PLL and WLL action is in the books for Champ Series. It's kind of California's leagues right now, both the Redwoods and the Palms, 2-0 after this first week. I'm curious where you want to start.
I mean, West Coast, the best coast, clearly, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we talk about Beast Coast, but I don't know where we really want to start. I guess we'll start with the Woods. I think the first thing on my mind, really, when it comes to this, I love the opportunity in Sixes Champ Series lacrosse is these players. You know, we got some people playing in the NLL right now, and we got a lot of guys that have opportunities to showcase their talents, right? One player, I'd be remiss when we're talking about the Redwoods, I would make the argument right now, he's potentially the best player and most impressive player this weekend. My guy, Aiden Denenza.
You've been an Aiden Denenza guy for a long time.
Pull up the tweets, man.
Yeah. And he's got that connection with Andrew McAdory. I feel like he's perfectly fit for this, and especially this roster. It's a nice balanced roster, but Andrew McAdory, Dylan Malloy, Romar Dennis, historically so dangerous. And then we just saw Romar hit the two-pointer in overtime.
It's Romar time
to win that game. So, you know, I think it's like defenses are looking at those players and they want to stop those guys, and Aiden Denenza is taking advantage.
Aiden Denenza has the size and the speed. And that's one thing I think for the people at home, if you aren't able to come down here to Virginia to watch the game live, next to Paul Rabel, next to Kyle Harrison on President's Row, like I am, you really get to see the size and speed of these players up close.
Yeah.
And Aiden Denenza,
he's huge.
He takes like in the summer, he's played with Brendan O'Neill at Duke. He's played with some alphas like Chris Cav, Dylan Malloy in the summer. He doesn't have to have the ball in his hands in the field game. One of the reasons I think he's so dangerous to be an effective player. With some of these guys out, I know that Dylan's here, I know that McAdory's here, but you really see him be able to take an alpha role, right? And he attack the cage, consistently getting a shorty, no long pull sliding to him. And the one thing that's really impressive me about him, he has a size and speed, but he's not always looking for the goal. He's got his eyes up constantly. He's also a dangerous feeder. Like we see him with, I think, top 3 in the Golden Stick right now.
Yeah.
But it's also his assist. It's his ability to see the open guy. And also, I think one thing that's huge is not being like a detriment on defense. You could have the offensive skills, but it's not being someone that could get picked on the defensive end. He's not getting picked on with that size, that athleticism.
Yeah, that definitely helps. I think like a big development with the Redwoods, all eyes were on Romar going into this. I think people could project that Dylan Malloy would be good at Sixes with the Redwoods. He's done it before in the past with the Chrome, with the Atlas. Of course, he's going to fit in here and do well. I think a lot of people could project what McAdory would look like in Sixes. Romar is one of the most dangerous threats in the history of this tournament, but he was a little banged up coming out of the scrimmages, coming out the lead up into it. And I wasn't really sure what kind of Romar we were going to get. And I actually love this version of Romar, who's kind of like letting the game come to him and not, you know, overextending himself. And I think defenses aren't quite sure how to attack that, because they're like, normally you want to take him out of the game, but if he's not 100%, do you have to devote all that defensive effort to him? And then it's like, well, you still do kind of, because he can stick that two-pointer in the clutch.
Yeah, and he had one at the end of the game. We're not going to talk too much about the games, rather the overall landscape of the weekend, because by the time you guys are hearing this, nobody really gives a shit what happened in the games. But he had a shot at the end of the game where I was like, what is he doing? Like, this isn't your game.
Flip the script on you a little bit there.
Right, and then he hit the game winner, which was awesome. But yeah, I totally agree. Like, you see someone like a Denenza or Mikey Bame. He's been awesome. I mean, the Redwoods makeup of this roster is so fun to watch. I think they've done a great job of getting the right guys in for this, because you could be not that good as a field player. You're starting to see in year 4 of Champ Series that a player might be built better for Sixes.
Yeah.
And I think you're really starting to see that. Also, I think we were remiss to talk about the Redwoods without talking about the play of Matt Note. I mean, you're talking about somebody who is a backup goalie in this league. I don't know how much time he's really got in the regular summer season, but comes in, you're playing indoors. That's harder for a goalie, right? With this lighting, it's not easy to see this ball. It's not easy to stop a pro shot to begin with, but then you're going to do it in this lighting and in Sixes format where you're seeing 100 shots and to stand on his head like he has. When you're talking about some of these teams later on in the summer or later on this summer, you don't know what's going to open up, but a team's going to need a starting goalie position. Matt Note's got to be at the top of that line right now, depending on how he finishes next weekend.
Yeah, I thought overall the goalie play improved as the weekend went on. That first night was a little rough. Another observation I had was teams looked better when they had they were playing a team that played the night before. So I think the Redwoods had a little bit of an advantage by not playing that first night, and then they got to play the Outlaws the next day. And now if you look at it, not only are they 2-0, but they're plus 14 in the score differential. So they're way out in front. They got to feel really good about their chances to not just jump right to the championship game, because guys, if you don't remember, they changed the rules last year, the setup, the playoff format, so that the top rated team goes straight to the championship. The second and the 3 play in the semifinal, and then the 4th doesn't make the playoff or the elimination round. So if you're the California Redwoods, you got to feel pretty good about where you stand at 2-0 plus 13 in the score differential. But then on the flip side of that, before we talk about the 2 1-1 teams, we should talk about the 0-2 chaos right now. Tough start to Champ Series for new head coach Stephen Brooks. Really rooting for him. Has had a lot of success in the past with the Atlas at this event.
Yeah, he has.
But a little tough break, 2 close losses.
Yeah, you had the 1-goal loss to your former team.
Yeah, and they were up big in that game too.
Yeah, and then today, right before we recorded this, they lost in overtime to the Redwoods, which also a new rule from last year, because remember, what was it, 2 years ago in overtime, it was a sudden death.
Yeah.
So we're getting the extended, so yeah.
Right. So the way that overtime went, it's a 4-minute overtime where, it's just the high score. If it doesn't end in that overtime, it goes to sudden death at that point. But Austin 𝐓𝐄 in that game that we just watched, 25 saves, a PLL Champ Series record, and they still lose. It's like up big against the Atlas, you lose it, you kind of fight back towards the end, then you lose, and then the next day you get 25 saves out of your goalie, and you still lose again.
You're a vet.
You can't buy one.
There's this. 𝐓𝐄, also, fun fact, played with his head coach, Stephen Brooks. I found that tidbit to be very, very fun, that they were teammates now, coach and player. And then in this game today on Sunday, we had Jackson Eicher coming out.
Yeah.
We talked about it earlier last week, actually, that Jackson Eicher was one of these players that could sneaky get the golden stick. Now, probably not likely, given that he didn't play in the first game. They gave the nod to Brendan Nichter.
Yeah.
Today, in his first game in Champ Series, 7 points,
monster.
4 goals, 1 2-pointer. So he had 6 total points.
Yeah. So I was feeling kind of good. Honestly, I wish we had an update right now on our leaderboard for our snake draft, because I was getting kind of nervous about my picks after the first day and second day. But then I felt a little better when it was like Eicher didn't play, because I know he's on Hoagie's roster. I was like, maybe I'll get that. And then Romar was a little injured, but they're still burying 2-pointers and scoring a lot of goals. So I don't know. I may be running that 5K, unfortunately, in full lacrosse gear, but we'll see how things go.
I think Hogan's got someone. Oh, no, he had Eicher, right?
He had Eicher, so he missed a game, but Eicher goes off, you know? And I had 3 of the lovely women from the WLL on my roster, but they're just not scoring as many goals. Those games in general are not as high scoring.
They don't get as high scoring. You don't get 32 goals.
You don't get the 2-pointers
54
either.
total.
No. So
no, you're not going to see that.
Maybe if we redid the snake draft, I would still respect women and draft a couple of them, but I don't know if I'd go 3 women and one man. And the only guy I have is Miles Jones, and so that's not great because he's not having a great Champ Series.
Yeah, a lot of people are like in the Instagram comments tweeting at me, Doogs, such a faux respecter of women. Faux respecter of women. Get real. I respect women so much that when you guys told me, hey, you have to pick one, I said, no, I want them all. I want none. I didn't want to pick one over the other. It's not about that.
Spin.
It's about the team.
Yeah. Before we jump in, we don't have to talk WLL just yet, but we're also going to have Kylie Ohlmiller on later in the show to talk about that, or earlier, wherever it lands in the show. But I do want to talk about the 2 1-1 teams right now, the Outlaws and the Atlas. Gut feeling, who do you think comes out next weekend and gives the Redwoods the biggest threat?
Trick question.
Why?
It's the 0-2 team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I should have known you'd
it's the 0-2 team. You're talking about a team that lost their 2 games by
combined 3 goals.
Right. 1 in overtime. So you're talking about 2 possessions, really.
Right.
I love the makeup of this chaos team.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I mean, you look at someone like Shane Knobloch, who I think is one of the most dynamic athletic midfielders in the world, and he's been banged up early in his PLL career, but you saw him kind of come onto the scene hard in the quarterfinals last year, and everyone's like, this is the Shane Knobloch that we expected coming out of Rutgers. Now he's just getting a shorty, and he's just absolutely asserting his dominance for this chaos team. We talked about Jackson Iker a little bit. Then you got Charlie Bertrand, who you picked up from the woods. And I'd be remiss if I wasn't talking about Chris Islanian. Coming off injury, I thought he was one of the most underrated, dangerous players coming into this format. He's unbelievable.
He hit a huge 2-pointer on this end of the field to send that to overtime. I know 𝐂𝐄 made the 2 big saves at the end of regulation that kind of stole the show, but without that 2-pointer, then that game's ending in regulation.
Definitely. And I guess when you're talking about the 1-1 teams, the one that impresses me the most, I mean, it has to be the team with the hero.
Yeah, we shouldn't bury the lead.
Yeah.
The guy who everyone has been watching.
Let's just talk the guy.
The guy.
And I'd
Matt
say
Trainer.
Matt Trainer. This guy, he's one of the best lacrosse players in the world. And I think I'm somehow underrating him. The Atlas already, they have MVPs in 𝐓𝐇𝐄. They have an MVP in Connor Schellenberger. They have an MVP in Trevor Baptiste. And I seriously think that we could see down the line the MVP be Matt Trainer.
Really?
He's that good, man. Like, I know that there's only one ball and there's only so many points to be scored and there's narratives every single year. But when you're telling me that, I think I'd be dumb not to say that I could see him being the best player in the world at one point.
He's definitely the best player here this weekend. And Joe Sinofsky, who's the acting head coach for the New York Atlas right now, agrees with you. He said he described him as a generational talent. And then he said, you can make an argument that he is the most dynamic player in the world right now. Now, he's definitely the best player here this weekend. I want to pump the brakes on that a little bit in just the sense that I said going in, this guy needs to be getting a look for Team USA. I'm going to say a look for Team USA training camp roster. We have to remember, Brennan O'Neill isn't here. Pat Cavanaugh isn't here. Connor Schellenberger isn't here. CJ Kurtz isn't here. This is a 12-man roster for the Olympics in 2028. And we're already talking about Matt Trainer like, oh, he's a lock to be there. Or he was one of the best players in the world. I don't know. I want to see him go up against, to your point last week, you want to be in that training camp. Yeah, Matt Trainer is a guy I would want to see in that training camp.
He'd be the trainer.
He better be there.
Yeah, I think that's obviously, I think Brendan O'Neill is one of those guys that'd just be awesome in this format, right? With the 2-point line, his body, because again, it's size, speed, and we are missing players, and there's going to be recency bias that goes into this. But I've also seen Matt Trainer on the same field as a lot of these guys. I think that he can get to the rack. He can take you to X. He's only has a shorty now. He's drawing poles at the midfield. He's drawing poles when he was playing attack. I think he's just so dynamic getting to the cage, his athleticism. And then again, I think it's really, you don't want someone in this format that pisses the ball away. You want someone that's going to make effective possessions. So there are some players that stand out to me where I'm like, well,
yeah.
Do they force too much? It doesn't seem like he forces too much.
He's so efficient. I think he has 21 points on about 53 touches, which means he's scoring the ball or producing a point that's a scoring
Great
point.
stack, Kev.
Yeah.
Great
Almost
stack.
half the time he touches the ball
Yeah.
at Champ Series. But job's not over for him. He's got another week, and I think he's got to, dominate next weekend as well. And his team's only 1-1. And the first game, they got slaughtered by Denver.
Yeah, I'm not reading too much into that. I know we're going to talk about college, but it's on the top of my mind. But you look at we're talking about it, what Princeton has done and their comeback, and they lost to Penn State earlier this. I never in any format of any sport look into a week 1 loss, a first game of the season loss. You just got out of training camp.
Yeah.
You're tired. You're probably forcing stuff. You're not listening. All the points that your coach is telling you in training camp for the 3 days that they were here or whatever, that goes out the window when you have tired legs.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. I'm just saying, I think that the thing we both love about the Redwoods so much is they play really, really well as a team, and they're a really balanced roster. Not that the Atlas aren't a good team or aren't as balanced, but they're kind of, to me, the Matt Trainer show. Okay, Brian Costabile, it's your team turn to go to the net. Kyle Jackson chip in with a crazy play here or there. He had the game winner against the Chaos. And to me, I think the key to winning in this game and in this style is finding ways to play together as a team, especially in this smaller format where there's so much incentive and probably temptation for a guy like Matt Trainer to look at the short stick across from him and be like, I can beat him 1-on-1.
Yeah, totally. I think that in sixes for the casual fan out there, right? That's let's just call it what it is. They'll call it a certified West Jenny Joe, which it could not be farther from the truth. These are people that have never watched sixes happen. One of the most important things in sixes is the substitution game, and it is coaching. And this is where you nail that right on the head. it's the conformity that you play together with. And one of the reasons why I would probably take back my pick of the Atlas is that it sometimes looks like a one-on-one show.
Yeah,
like
it is.
the Redwoods play, like you could hear them on the sidelines being like, "Yo, you go," like, "Hey, get back." Like they're not subbing on offense.
Yeah.
Like they're being very tactical in all their decisions.
Yeah, and let's keep our eyes on the ball here. We're talking about the Olympics in 2028. This is about beating Canada. You know, in Canada they know how to play system team ball, 2-on-2s, 3v2s type thing. That's what they look for in this format. Whereas I think the Americans have that tendency to kind of be like, I can beat the man across from me, and I'm going to take him to X. You see them go to X all the time. When you watch Canadians play sixes, they don't go to X.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's AAU ball. It's when you talk about even like basketball, or like you see these young generations where you're getting evaluated, and you're having a coach with a clipboard evaluate you, and you all of a sudden you think, I have to show that I can score. It's not about scoring. It's about playing good team sport. And like going off that, one of the most underrated players this entire weekend, Brian Tevlin. Like just what he's been able to do defensively, be a net positive offensively, like stepping in, getting like stick saves somehow, like intercepting passes, being like a menace on defense. He's someone that I'm looking at. I'm like, man, like that, like you can make an argument for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you need guys like that. Geddes, another guy on the
Chaos. Can we talk about him for a minute?
Yeah, sure.
And when we're talking about the Outlaws just in general, like, you're like, they just, the Atlas, they got 32 point on them. It's like, Will Mark didn't have his best game. And I love Will Mark. He definitely bounced back. But at some point, it was just like 2 bombs galore.
He was a lot better after the nut shot.
Yeah, he was.
Ironically.
Like, Graham Bundy, like, yeah, seriously. Graham Bundy, like, was just, he's one of the best 2-point shooters in the world.
Yeah, he is.
We had this debate last year on the show, like, who would you take? I think my answer is Graham Bundy from 2. I mean, it's just absolutely wicked. But Zach Geddes, defensive midfielder, flies in the regular game.
He's the fastest guy here.
He's the fastest guy alive. Like, he's unbelievably fast. And I mean, we were talking before the show started, before we got rolling, which it was rolling. We were talking about like, man, like you were like, say what you said earlier in the show. Like, you're like, I wanted to take Geddes.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Geddes because going back to last fall, he was a late add to the training camp roster or the Atlas Cup roster for Team USA sixes. He was replacing Matt Campbell, actually. Like, talk about big shoes to fill. And he played out of his mind. Like, he was scoring BTB goals. He was an offensive threat. And then they brought him back for Super Sixes. And I was like, okay, Zach Geddes is pretty good. I was like a little, I didn't want to like go all in and be like, oh, Zach Geddes is a player to watch. I wish I did now, but I also said Matt Trainer, so not really.
Ever heard of him?
Yeah, I'm not really like going back on my pick, but I do wish I spent a little more time highlighting Zach Geddes going into the week.
Yeah, and the last point I want to make about Matt Trainer, just now that I'm back on him, is just like what he's able to do going to the rack, but also how he is in like the mid-range shooting, which you have to be like, you have a Chris Kavanaugh-esque like from mid-range shooter, which like is needed in this, especially in the Olympic style. But then it's also, can you beat your guy to the rack?
Yeah.
Can you be an efficient passer? Like he's played every single aspect that you need in sixes lacrosse. Like he's played out of the box. He's played behind X. He's been the guy.
Yeah.
He's been the second best guy.
Yeah.
He's played next to TJ Malone. He's played next to, like, you could just plug and play him anywhere.
Yes.
So like, this is MVP, like world's best. Like, I don't know if he'll ever win that award. Yeah. Ever. It just, again, there's one ball, but think that at some point we're going to have a conversation like, is he?
He's the different.
Yeah, he's the best.
He's a difference maker. He's definitely a difference maker. And one thing I will point out about him too is when you see him in person, he's a lot bigger than you think. Like when you look at these teams and the dynamic athletic midfielders that they've brought here, the Andrew McAdory for Redwoods, or Justin Anderson for the Outlaws, or Shane Knobloch for the Chaos. Matt Trainer's bigger than all those guys, but he still moves like a small, shifty guy.
Matt Trainer frame bogs me.
He does.
Like, he does. Like I kind of thought like when he was at Penn State, I was like, I kind of got this guy. I think I could frame mog him. Nope. Just absolutely mogs me.
Real quick before we jump over to just some quick WLL discussion, I'm curious if there's any under the radar guys on Outlaws that you wanted to highlight. I know that first night they had 2 dudes go off for, I think, 9 points.
Yeah,
Justin Anderson and also Fulton Bayman.
Yeah, let's talk about Fulton Bayman really quick.
Right.
One of my favorite parts of this, again, is the guys that don't get opportunities in summer, like the Ronan Jacoby stories.
Yeah.
Right? You're talking about guys that literally get pulled up from beer leagues that are playing against like Joe Schmoes that like haven't like touched like a weight room in 2 years and just been cranking Guinnesses in New York City. And then they're coming out here. Fulton Bayman, how do you not look at him for a roster spot this summer?
Dude,
he looks like he could carry your offense.
Dude, he's so quick.
Yeah.
Like for a guy who's had multiple knee injuries and surgeries,
Right.
Dude, he can dice up his defender, and he doesn't look like, I mean, he looks like elite speed and elite quickness. He was definitely better the first night than the second night, but I like Fulton Bayman, and I'd love to see him get another look for PLL training camp this summer.
He was at Notre Dame, if I'm not mistaken. Like, think about that for a second. Like, because he was so injured, he like kind of flew under the radar. But he was on these teams with Jake Taylor, Pat Kavanaugh, Chris Kavanaugh.
Like, no wonder.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh wow, Notre Dame's good at recruiting. Who would have thunk?
Right. Exactly. No, so we got an awesome slate this coming up next week. I'm really excited to see. The one matchup we didn't see might be the potential championship matchup with Atlas and Redwoods.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to see that one yet.
I'm excited for it, man. And it just gets, I don't know. Sixes move so fast. Again, I don't think you really could tell on the TV that like the size and the speed of these guys up close in this like compact of a field. It's only a little bit bigger than like a box field. The physicality that's shown and the amount of hits that are taken from these players, like it's all continuous. So there's no breaks really between these players. Like they can't like use like a mental cool down period and like you're not matched. You're on the same guy and these tensions rise, man.
Yeah.
And you saw it a little bit with the Atlas last night. You saw a little bit
a
today
couple
with
games have gotten heated. The first night, you like that?
Yeah.
You like that? You
Yeah.
like that? Graham Bundy doing his best Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I love that. Great tweet. Pull that up. But yeah, I could not agree more. And I think that's like I love when people say like the players don't care. Okay, you tell me that they don't. You watch this and you tell me that they don't care.
Do.
They clearly
care.
Because whenever like you have something like whether it's pride, it's a paycheck, if you're playing for something, whatever that intrinsic value is to you, whatever you deem valuable to yourself, like people ride for that thing.
Yeah, and also just a quick thing I gotta mention: when you see all the trolls in the comments that say like Sixes isn't lacrosse, glorified West Jenny as you just called it, when you talk to the players who are actually playing this game, they love this format. They actually have a lot of fun. Even the goalies. If you look,
I would
Matt
love
Note
this.
said it. Matt Note said it. They were like, "Oh, how's it going?" Like Dana Boyle's asking him, and he's like, it's lacrosse. This is awesome. Like I love this. Get a lot of shots.
Yeah, dude. I wasn't like the best goalie ever, but like anytime you play goalie and you have ADHD like me, like the field is so big, you just want to get shots. Like facing shots is fun. Like why are you in goal if you don't want to face shots?
Yeah.
Like it's not like I think it's probably pretty difficult to like have that mindset. Like your mindset definitely changes here compared to field. You have to have a quick short-term memory. Like you have to realize that a 45% saving percentage is good.
Yes.
Like you're not going to be able to save a lot of shots, but your mindset changes, but like your competitive nature doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of on the note of goalies, I mentioned this to you last night, but this is a good transition into WLL real quick. But I think we need to start looking harder and deeper at what these goalies are doing on the clear. Like, you know how they talk about quarterbacks, like how fast they are from snap to release?
Totally.
We need to start timing goalies on how fast they are from the ball hitting the back of the net to in their stick and out.
100%. And it's going to be a vital... It's vital to the. I mean, Matt Note's been awesome at it, low key. And you saw someone like Logan McNady who didn't play in the second Outlaws game, but in the first, I mean, we talked about it at length.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, someone said heads
Marcus
up.
Is Marcus Holman's doing a shooting clinic right over here.
The most accurate shooter in the world, my ass.
Marcus is running over here. Awesome.
Yeah. What's up? What you think of the game,
Marcus?
Yeah, big pod.
Marcus, what's going on, man?
Great to see you guys.
Yeah, here, step in right here real quick.
About?
Well, I don't know if you know, but first of all, coming into this game, this championship series, you're the all-time points leader for Champ Series, but Costabile just passed you last night.
Yeah, Costabile. Maybe I was like thinking Romar as well. Like who else has played in a lot of these?
Anybody?
I saw Aslanian has played. I think in all 4 years.
Really?
Yeah.
He's great.
So.
Do you have a favorite player out here this weekend?
Damn, dude, I miss it out here. I want to be out here. Yeah. I'm really upset. It's fun. It's so fun to watch, though. Like,
I got one question for you with like the respect to like how tired are these guys? Like speak to that after weekend one. Like, don't you wish you had it broken up a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We loved it when it was just the continuous. It's you're just like in it. It's Band of Brothers.
Yeah,
Dude, I tell people like our locker room before that championship game last year against the Archers, like bandages everywhere, guys on the floor, like broken ribs, lower back issues. It was like a war room.
Pretty sure Jeff Trainer had
Trainer had his knee.
Yeah.
He had a shaving issue too, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Cut his head shaving. So, I mean, it's just I love the format though. And people I talk to, just whether they're like diehard lacrosse fans or casuals, like they're all like, "Damn, sixes is really fun to watch." So. Yeah. I'm a fan this week and next weekend, but
I think the only haters are the people that don't watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like if you're just like an old head that's just like it's college lacrosse or nothing else, it's just like why? Like why are you like that?
Dude, they were probably so mad when the horn got taken away.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the substitution horn on the sideline. Like, dude, yeah, like this game doesn't need a shot clock.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I love the 5-4 finish. It's like, dude, I mean, I don't know. Everything's moving quicker these days. Like shot clock is great. The girls' sixes is awesome too. Like it's just cool to have one set of rules we both play, and
we see you helping out the younger kids right now. We'll let you get back to that, but
we got the legends out
I
here,
do want to ask you, what do you think it does for the youth game and just like helping them out?
I mean, any time I'm doing clinics or camps, like we're playing sixes in it.
That's awesome. Do you guys like sixes?
Yeah, heck yeah. We got a lot of shorties. Yeah, we got a lot of shorties out here today. A lot of touches. And, like, at the youth level, you should be learning how to play defense, midi, goalie.
Yeah, totally.
Scoring goals. So, yeah, it's all good. Good to see you guys.
Thanks,
Awesome.
dude.
Hey.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Marcus. Appreciate that impromptu.
Yeah. Hit the frog. Hit the frog.
Yeah, come here. Hit the frog for Mitch. For Mitch.
What?
Who's winning champ series?
Chaos.
Chaos all day.
I'm gonna go with Redwoods.
Redwoods.
Chaos. It's got to be chaos.
Wow. A lot of faith in the 0-2 chaos from this crew.
They are.
Yeah, they are. That's right. Jericho knows ball.
Who's winning champ series?
For me, I wish it was chaos, but I kind of think it's gonna be the Redwood.
A realist.
Really?
An absolute
Chaos?
realist. Oh, but he's still
I want it
repping
to
him.
be chaos, but I don't think they're gonna.
Can I let you in on a secret? I think it might be the chaos too.
Awesome.
Don't give up.
I think the Redwood, but I want the chaos.
Yeah. Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show. Make sure you're watching. Awesome.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He'll be
I'm
here
right
next
here.
week.
I'm right here. I'm Mitchell Pehlke. Yeah, I'm way better looking. yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a shave, old head.
So right before all that happened, we were talking about goalies and getting the ball out. I wanted to transition that into WLL because I think the best player here at it is Taylor Moreno. Taylor Moreno had a game with 3 assists. She's so good. And the California Palms are 2-0 as well. And I think she's probably the biggest reason why. But I'm curious if you have any general WLL thoughts after that. Again, we keep it high level because we got Kylie Ohlmiller coming on.
Well, why do you need Kylie Ohlmiller when you got Kev and Doogs McDougal, who's never played a second of women's lacrosse, breaking it down for you? I mean, all the women's lacrosse fans out there are like, what's Doogs' take on women's lacrosse? No, but I've really grown to be a fan in general of the sport. My sisters played growing up, not high level. I have 3 sisters. I respect women so much. I think carrying this Olympic momentum too has got me like juiced up. I think the California Palms are an absolute wagon. I think Ali Mastriani is one of the most. I don't even know how she's one of the best players in the world, but like a lot of casual lacrosse fans, women's wise, wouldn't put her in the conversation of Izzy Skane, Charlotte North. Like Mitch is talking about like verbs. Like Charlotte North deserves a verb. Charlotte North's own too. Yeah. Like, why not Ali Mastriani? Why not something like...
Because I think it's too big.
Right.
Mitch can't make that into a verb. That's too long of a name.
Taylor Moreno, like, absolute GOAT. Like, she's doing BTB, like, clears. Like, what?
Yes. So, quickly, are you counting out the guard? 0-2, Charlotte North?
Yeah.
You're going to count them out just like that? Goodness, I was setting you up to say no.
Yeah, no, I am. I mean, like, look, I'm not going to, like... I'm not going to beat around the bush here. Like, it's not like I owe the guard anything.
Right. No.
I think I love Dempsey Arsenal's game. More, I think she's one of the most athletic girls out here. I think Charlotte North, we saw the first 2 bomb in WL history. Like, they're great, but like the charging is a wagon, and it's not like necessarily they looked that good last. The charm. Let's not count them out.
No, I like them.
Yeah, I like them a lot. Kaylee Waters also played way better in the second half. Like, she's just already got going in the second half of that game. Allie Kennedy's amazing. Sydney Black. Like, she finally got, like, the support system that she kind of needs.
Yeah. Allie Kennedy was my pick for WLL Golden Stick. I hope you remember.
You were so right. That's when he scared me. I was like, why is Kev going? Because I remembered all the scores last year, and I was like, why is Kev going all girls? Like the men's games are just like double the scores.
Yeah, it's just higher.
And when he picked Allie Kennedy, I was like, fuck, man, like he definitely knows something.
I felt like I was getting like superstar power late, and then I kind of wasn't factoring in like the scores just aren't the same.
Well, peek around the lens too. Mitch screwed up the draft last week.
And we had to redo part of it, and that messed me up. So I'm blaming Mitch. If I have to run this 5K in all lacrosse gear, I'm cursing Mitch the whole
I'll
way.
also blame Mitch if I can.
Yeah.
If I have to. Let's just blame Mitch.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I guarantee this will be fun. Mitch, if you see this, comment a frog emoji. I guarantee he doesn't see this.
Mitch, if you watch this show,
Yeah,
if you watch your own show named after you, please drop a frog
emoji. Yeah. Or he's just commenting for fun.
Dude, I also have to. We just shouted out Allie Kennedy, but I have to shout out a couple other newcomers.
Please,
Ashley Humphrey.
Awesome. Amazing. Yeah, she's been
all-time
great.
NCAA assist leader. That translates to sixes. I was a little curious whether it would or not, because she's not necessarily the biggest like one-on-one take you to the net girl. And then 2 for the Palms, Anna Brandt and Ellie Macera.
Dude,
both
okay.
Awesome.
I wanted Ellie Macera.
Yeah.
It's one of these girls that like, I frankly like hear about her like a couple years ago. I think she was at Stony Brook. You're right.
Yes.
And then don't watch that much Stony Brook. Sorry, Joe. Sorry, Trader Joe. I'll watch your Redwoods. I don't watch the most Stony Brook's women's lacrosse. I'm a Hofstra guy. Hofstra. But she stands out, man. Like, even when she's not without the ball, she has this, like, her footwork is diabolical out there. Like, her speed is, like, takes notice. The women's game also got so physical.
Yeah,
so
it did, actually.
There were a couple times where, like, I had to, like, turn around. I'm pointing to the scoreboard for those that are listening and get the shot on my phone of, like, girls laying the lumber.
Yeah.
I love how this this would be one fun ad that I'd like. Because, like, I remember yesterday during the game, Abby Bosco, friend of the program.
Yep.
Friend of the program, Abby Bosco. She almost got her head taken off by Meg Carney during a shot. I was like, oh my God, like, we're about to see helmets and girls across because of what just happened in WL6s. Abby Bosco, like, I just saw the whole thing happen. I would love to see one rule change, Kev.
What's that?
I would love to see I hate the meter shots. But I think it would be so awesome if you saw like 2-point cranks, like a meter shot that's a 2.
Like a free position from the 2-point range.
Yes.
For some of these hits, it feels like they deserve it.
Right. It's just like what would dictate that? I don't know. I would hate it in the men's game. I know we want continuity between both the men's and women, so it's probably unrealistic.
Yeah.
But how fun would that be to see like Charlotte North like down 2, 15 seconds to go? She gets a chance to just crank one.
I want to see. I wouldn't mind it in the sense that I want to see more girls taking the shot from 2.
Well,
like Charlotte seems like the only one that has like the confidence that knows like, oh, I can rip it from here and I can score. Whereas like, you know, a lot of girls, I think just by nature, their thought is I'm going to get as close to the net as I can before I can score. But they can hit it. These girls can rip it.
I think this is where it comes in. I think girls are nervous about hitting other girls.
Which is part of the rules, you know, shooting space,
right?
Which is
that's what I'm saying. Like, and then we go down such a slippery slope over like, so it's probably not worth it. But I mean, God, sue a man for wanting more 2-pointers.
Yeah, I mean, do you see the way that Sergio Perkovic just lets 2-pointers rip it?
yeah. I was like behind him, and I was scared of that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, they need a little bit of that mentality. But I think we've pretty sufficiently wrapped up the first week of PLL and WLL Champ Series. Unless you have any last thoughts.
If you could change your picks, would you? Let's me and you get to update our week 1. Okay. Who would your champ be?
Okay.
And who would your golden stick winner be?
I'm going to stick with my PLL championship, which was Redwoods over Atlas. I'm going to stick with that one. However, my golden stick was Miles Jones, and I would switch to Matt Trainer now.
Okay, mine was Dylan Malloy. Did I take the Redwoods or did I take the Atlas?
I think you took Atlas. I think you had the reverse.
I would change Redwoods to Redwoods. Think I would take Denenza.
Yeah.
Dude, he's been that dominant.
He has been.
Like
he's getting a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, at what point do defenses be like, all right, that's the guy we got to shut off. That's the guy we got to double now.
He's the alpha.
Yeah.
Like,
kind of is.
He's a 2-point threat, which Dylan is too. I think he like matched in one game the amount of 2-pointers he had last year.
Yeah.
But Denenza's like from long range, a very significant threat. And his body inside, he's almost like using his body like Malloy does. Not the bull dodge,
Yeah.
but the physicality is
Right.
totally there.
Yeah. So
No, not having poles to slide for some of these, like a trainer, like it's just like, they're like, oh, wow, like I could just do this.
yes. And it's also interesting when you look at like the scores when it's like all these midfielders. There's not a lot of attackmen. Dylan Malloy is one of them who's up there in terms of the scoring, but
I think that's the point I'm going off of.
Yeah.
It's these midfielders that aren't like
Right.
they're not seeing those poles slide to
yeah,
them.
they're like, this is awesome.
This is what you guys. Yeah, this is what you guys do.
Yeah. So this is a little weird, but would you like to maybe kick it back to your future self?
Okay, here's a question to my future self. Did we start recording at 8:15?
Ooh.
Did we start recording at 8:15?
Tune in to find out.
Just heard from Doogs and Kev on site. Obviously, Champ Series is currently live. Best time of the year, obviously, in February, early March. Next week, all 4 of us will be in D.C., so if you're there next weekend, stay tuned. Get some pics, some autographs with us. Hang out with us. But in Season 3 of the show, we got something a little bit different. I'll pass it to Doogs. What do you got going on for the fans?
Ladies and gentlemen, I've listened to the people. Welcome to the Trading Corner, presented by Polymarket. I was just boots on the ground for Champ Series, right? I just said it. You just kicked it over from me, bro. What is it? Past me and Kev. By the way, past Kev, we did start at 8:15. I made it.
Yes.
Bang.
Kev, don't forget
Shout
about
out.
it.
Yeah, shout out to past me. Congrats to future me. But I was just boots on the ground for Champ Series. Here's my 3 favorite predictions in the Trading Corner, powered by Polymarket. Polymarket, by the way, is a prediction market where users trade on real-world event outcomes and soon, professional lacrosse. All right, Mitch, Hogs.
Yep.
Here's my 3 favorite predictions for next weekend. Or you know what?
Okay.
I'm going to even give you guys a bonus one, all right? I'm going to do 4. Here's my
Let's
3
do it.
predictions. Prediction number 1. I like California. The Redwoods in the PLL to raise the championship next weekend. Andrew Macdonenza, holy hell. They looked unbelievable this weekend. It was like a compliment. They complemented each other so well with quickness and brute force, while Dylan Malloy had been this consistent presence that they needed throughout. And then Romar still two-more. You saw him today on Sunday. We're recording this Sunday night. Sunday afternoon, he hit the two-pointer in overtime for the win. Don't tell this group that defense doesn't matter in sixes. Tevlin and Carter Rice have looked so good. I love the Redwoods in this format. I think Anthony Kelly, shout out Buckeye Anthony Kelly, he's really got this group humming. They complement each other so well. I love the Redwoods right now. I probably would take back my Atlas pick to trade for Redwoods. What do you guys think?
Interesting.
I'm happy. I took the Redwoods beforehand. I'm happy that how they've looked after, 2 games. The offense looked great. I know the Chaos escaped, or is an escape in overtime against the Chaos, but I mean the Redwoods look like the team to beat. And then obviously the WL side too.
Yeah, and then that's what I was about to say for the WL side. Look, I think the California in general, West Coast, Best Coast, Carolina Palms have impressed me the most so far, right? Like, I think that Ali Mastriani has arguably played the best out of any woman so far. But I'm still taking the New York Charging. And Izzy Skane, in my opinion, she's still the best overall player. And the team's mostly composed of Northwestern grads and the Golden Stick winner last year, Emily Harris-Chuck. I think they'll get it done when it counts. And Madison Doucette, the goaltender, she could give Taylor Moreno, the goalie for the California Palms, a run for her money as best goalie in the world. It's like that quote in Miracle, like, have you seen him when he's on, talking about Jim Craig? That's Madison Doucette. When she's on, she really can be the best goalie in the world.
100%. And we'll kind of dive into an interview
Friend of
with
the
Kylie
program,
Miller.
too.
She's been on a YouTube video. Outstanding personality. She's on this show last year. We have Kylie Ohlmiller coming on here soon. We're going to ask her a couple questions about former teammates and ultimately what Deuce is all about. But in net, if you were to shoot on her from Pehlke range, which is 12 yards, with 10 balls, Dukes, how many do you think you're scoring on her?
Do I get my long pole?
I don't know. She's a female. You're a respected woman, so we'll go short stick.
I think I'm getting 7 lefty.
Wow, 7.
Dude, no way.
Mitch,
Wait
how
for
many
the
are you
fans.
getting?
Or the fans.
Mitch, how many are you getting? How many are you
I
getting,
would
Mitch?
say I would say 9 confidently.
9.
You don't
From
believe
12
so?
yards?
I don't know, bitch.
What do you mean?
I'm not even lying. I think that you would do really bad against her because I think she's really good from up, like in close, and we know that outside of like 6 yards.
Yeah.
Look,
I'm a shifty guy. People know
you're
that.
popcorn. You're
I'm
popcorn.
a highlight tape.
Mitch is a placement guy. He's not a.
I'm a placement guy. I'm like
No, I
Hoagie
know.
with the pinch and pop. We're analytical with it.
She might have your number in close. You might need to
The
back it
problem
up.
is she would actually chirp me and I would get rattled, I think. Yeah, her chirps are probably insane.
Dude, the first one's got to get in.
Yeah.
But my
It's
third
downhill from
prediction. Talking about Golden Stick winner. Let's just stick to the PLL for this one.
Yep.
I wrote down in my Google Doc that I think Matt Trainer. Right, I have it right here. My prediction is Matt Trainer will be the Golden Stick winner. I picked Dylan Malloy last week. It's not Matt Trainer. Aiden Denenza. It was phenomenal. I just spent like an hour talking with Kev about how he's like the best player in sixes Suzuka, in my opinion. He has like, for the first time, maybe since like his St. Anthony's days, he doesn't have all the like he plays with Brennan. He's usually like the passive guy in most offenses that he's in. In sixes, he's been an absolute alpha with his size, shooting from two. He's like taking over this alpha role that I've never really seen him in. He looks like the best player for sixes, and you see it in sixes. Some players are just adapt better to it. He was like the best player in my opinion. Obviously, Trainer is the best player in sixes. Killing it, but Aiden Denenza, for what he brings from like 2-point range and all about with like his size, speed, he really impressed me. So I'll go with him, especially because I'm that much more confident that the Redwoods will play an extra game.
I'll be honest, our Golden Sticks predictions aren't looking great right now.
Yeah, well, if you look too, it's all the young bucks. Think of the top five.
Yeah.
You got McAdory and Denenza from the Redwoods. You got Van Overbeek for the Outlaws. You got Shane Knobloch for the Chaos, and then Trainer.
Yeah, my team's
for
looking
the
good.
Atlas.
We'll get to that later.
That's the top five right now. All young bucks.
My team's looking real nice.
I know we'll get to that later. Again, for the fans out there didn't watch episode 1, Golden Stick contest for us is we picked a team. The team that does the best is the winner. The team that does the worst has to run a 5K on Instagram Live in full lacrosse pads. We'll take out the cleats, put some running shoes on. But, Dukes, what's your last prediction you got?
Like I said, you can trade on real-world events on Polymarket, right?
Yes.
So let's predict this. I predict that when someone's raising that PLL Champ Series trophy, we will see someone hit the frog.
I can
Bill
honestly
Tierney
see
style.
that.
I could too.
That's a great prediction right there. I like that.
I think,
now-
dude, especially the Atlas, dude. I could totally see
Yeah,
it.
could Krevsky go back to back on
Krevsky
frogging in national
will be
in
frogging.
championship photos? Yeah.
We obviously think Krevsky, frogman, frog legend. Who's a guy that would probably never hit the frog?
Oh,
Who do we got?
like a Bill Tierney-esque player.
I don't know. We did see the edit though. Don't forget, pop that up, Corey.
Of who? Who?
Bill
I gotta
Tierney.
watch
They
it.
just slapped like this on him.
Oh yeah, AI too. Yeah,
AI.
deepfakes. Yeah,
AI frogging.
I got one for you. One player I couldn't. I would trade no on Polymarket hitting the frog like at any time in their life. Sergio Perkovic. I cannot picture that man ever hitting.
I
the
don't
frog.
know.
I
That's a
think he would
sneaky
hit a
frog
frog.
pick. That's a sneaky
Seriously?
frog pick. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I think
Yes.
it's a sneaky frog.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he'd be like a handsome frog. Like, I mean, what that guy's doing, like,
Hey, yo, pause.
Hoagie, what do you got?
Of a person in Champ Series, or just in general,
Champ
I would
Series.
say Champ Series.
a guy who I think wouldn't hit the frog. Oh man, wouldn't hit the frog.
Or a guy that you just think hits the most heinous frog.
Hits a heinous frog.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'd love to see Romar Dennis's frog. I don't know if he's ever hit
he
one.
would definitely hit the frog.
No, he
Yeah,
would hit
he
it.
would-
But
he
what
would
would it look
massive
like?
frog.
Is it like or is it
he's like on brain rot talk. Him and Hoopify were like talking at
Oh, he
Street
goes
Lacrosse.
that deep.
Oh yeah, because all the kids he coaches. Yeah.
Can we talk
I
about
heard
this?
Yes.
Can we talk about Nestler, by the way, trying to get a tryout next year in sixes? I saw him poking the bear on Twitter, trying to get out there.
Yeah,
That
how do you
was.
think he would be, Dukes?
I want Nestler so bad to be an emergency backup goalie for Champ Series, because I need the pros to kill his confidence so hard. Like the fact that he thinks, like I know his drunk ass was watching the games last night. I was like, if I was in there, I would have had that. Like I know him very well in this sense. And he's gonna he'll probably listen to this and be like, he's totally right. He's so irrationally confident that I know that he thinks he could get like a 40% plus save percentage in sixes right now. Right off the couch.
That's
But
pretty
he
crazy.
doesn't. He thinks that if he got an opportunity, that like he would stay in the league. Like it wouldn't be like he doesn't look at this as like an e-bug situation. Like he thinks he's here to stay in this situation.
He thinks it's not a charity case. He thinks he's
Dude,
here.
he would
Like,
get
he
one.
thinks they're gonna make, like, a movie about him.
He would take rubber to the calf from Bundy, and he'd call it quits.
Nah, that's the thing. He's a tough cookie. He's a tough cookie. It would be
Dude, there's
fun though to
difference
see
between
Nesta off
Pehlke's
the catch.
80-mile-an-hour shot than Gundy's bow right to the calf. I mean, massive, massive, massive. We'll get to some more Poly, but Poly, Marky, Doogs, I'll kind of let you wrap up here.
Yeah, you guys can stay tuned like all throughout the regular season. When we come back and talk more PLL markets, we'll be trading all season long. I'm really excited for this. This will be the trading corner all summer long. I know I'm pumped for it. I love trading. BBC called me an investor. Getting back into my investing lane.
I like that. That's what it's all about. And now, let's hop into one of the most famous women's lacrosse player ever, Kylie Ohlmiller. And now we welcome the legendary Kylie Ohlmiller. Clap it up. First women's lacrosse player on season 3 of the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show. Kylie, you've been referred to as the human highlight reel from ESPN. You had an unbelievable career. Kind of walk us through what life's been like since recently retiring. What have we gotten into?
Yeah, honestly, it was a big month. I got married and then retired all within like 30 days. So I was joking on social media that my my insights on social media, I had like 1.1 million views on my profile. I was like, I did this to myself. Like
Let's
too
go.
many big announcements going on. But yeah, it's been good. I think like jumping right into Champ Series and turning more of a outside looking in kind of look and still trying to stay involved in the game. That's always been a big goal of mine. Whatever that looks like, whether it's, sideline reporting or broadcasting or coaching the youngins or honestly just like supporting my friends that are still out there playing professionally. So yeah, it's not too much different. I'm just not putting my body through the pro ranks anymore.
Definitely. Obviously, the lacrosse world doing a bunch of different things, some coaching, some media stuff. I've seen, obviously, the Instagram popping off, like you said. Some pretty life-changing, career-changing stuff in the past month. I love the insights are going up. But Champ Series Weekend 1 just passed this weekend. I kind of want to talk on, obviously, the WLL side. The California Palms, 2-0. I mean, did we expect any of this coming into year 2 of the WLL?
I don't know. I think what was like kind of a big thing for going into Champ Series year 2 for the WLL was that there's so many newcomers. A lot of players that couldn't play last year due to, previous jobs or college coaching, things like that, or just players that have kind of just previously come out of college. So I think like the newcomers are a huge thing right now. I think there's a handful of solid studs that came back from last year that are doing their thing, like the Charlotte Norths and the Ali Mastrianis of the world. But I think the newcomers are like really making a stand out, and a lot of them are on the Palms.
Yeah, 100%. We chatted before we started recording a newcomer in Ashley Humphrey's been absolutely killing it. Who are your top 2, top 3, obviously, that we've seen the past couple of days, but you think are going to be, kind of stay-at-home names on the lacrosse field for the women's side?
Yeah, I mean, Allie Kennedy comes to mind immediately. I think she's just like a firepower on the field. Like she's so much fun to watch, and I think sixes was made for her, the way that she plays. She's just in and out of defenders all over the field, and she's just way too quick for anyone to keep up with her decision making. So I think she's, technically not a newcomer to the pro ranks, but like newcomer to WLL and wearing a charm uniform, and she's showing why this weekend. And then I think like Ashley Humphrey, you mentioned it too. What I like about her game is that she's primarily at that X position. She kind of plays like a quarterback almost. And that's something you don't see played into too much in the sixes game, but should be. And I think that she's kind of like revolutionizing that a little bit in Champ Series right now. And the Charm's really utilizing her back there and her ability to feed and her vision and having her all over the field. So, yeah, those are my 2 right now.
Let's stay on Allie Kennedy. She obviously made her WL debut. We just talked about that. She's in the Golden Stick Award conversation. You actually posed her as one of the biggest pickups this offseason. What do you think makes her such a valuable asset to that Maryland squad?
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have gotten to play with her for so many years, and I know her inside and out in terms of like how she is as a leader and as a teammate too. And she's a competitor. Like I think that's her biggest factor, right? Is she does not want to lose, and she does not want to lose any one-on-one matchup anywhere on the field. It's a 50-50 ground ball. It's a, one-on-one matchup defensively. It's a getting hard to the cage. So I think for her, it's just like that next level competitiveness. I also think for her, again, she's so speedy, but what she does differently to the other really fast players out there on the field is she protects her stick while she does it. It's like really hard to watch her when she's in tight this whole time, but she's still moving her feet really, really fast. And it's impressive. Like, I still don't understand how she does it. So I think that's what makes her next level.
Definitely. And kind of going into this year, my team to beat was Boston. Obviously on the ropes, starting 0-2. Hoagie, I kind of let you take it from here, but that was my biggest shock.
Yeah, Boston starting 0-2 for me was definitely a shock. Like, how big are you surprised they're 0-2? Did you see them being at the bottom, or did you see them being more of like the favorite to repeat coming in?
Yeah, I mean, I think in any sport, right, it's hard to be that champion that everyone's chasing after. It's hard to repeat championships, right? And I think Boston's like tasting a little bit of that right now, being able to like come back, and they have a lot of returners from last year too, so it's a lot of their same squad. They added like one or two here and there on each position, but yeah, I think like for them, it's a little bit of like a wake up call of, wow, if we've got some new people out there, the way that we might have scouted the Palms last year might be very, very different this year, and vice versa. So I think they're kind of just like, and the thing about the Champ Series is that it happens so quick, right? Like they're already 2 games down and already 0-2. So there's like not much time for them to be able to turn everything around. And they probably had, 2 to 3 practices prior to be able to come together and come off of just training all by themselves for the last year, and come together as a team and be able to try to repeat what they did. So I think it's not so much about an X's and O's, just more about a little bit of like a shock to the system of what's coming from the rest of the league.
Yeah, and then kind of talking about your former team, the Charging, I want to talk about Madison Duchette. She's been unbelievable at goal. Can you kind of just touch on her a little bit on what makes her so special and such a great player in this league?
Yeah, Deuce, we call her. She is incredible. And she's so sturdy in the cage. Like, she's very, very patient. But when you need her to make like the jumpy athletic save, she's going to be there too. So that's what I think it makes it so difficult. As I was an attacker, and I think like it was so difficult to figure her out when shooting on her. And I think what she does is she gets in the heads of opposing players really early on in games, so that these players are then thinking while they're shooting rather than just like reacting and shooting on instinct. And when you have that kind of ability as a goalie, you tend to kind of stay hot throughout the game, and you're in everybody's heads as they're shooting. So, I mean, as shooters, we know that feeling, and it doesn't feel good. And I think Deuce does it really, really well.
Yeah, she's a legend. I've had her in a YouTube video. Her personality is electric. And obviously being in year 2 of WL for the Champ Series, we're about to be in year 1 of the regular season. What excites you the most about seeing these girls, obviously this summer, and something a little bit more elevated than what we saw last time with AU?
Yeah, definitely next level, definitely here to stay. And I think it's going to be really, really exciting. Just being able to see top level, highest level lacrosse in different cities in front of different fan bases that are growing rapidly for these youth programs across the country for female lacrosse, I think is huge. I think it's going to be really, really awesome to see everybody, just in those stadiums and soaking it all up. But then I think too, the other factor of it is to be able to see these players not only play sixes, but also thrive at the field game, the 10v10 format, and to be able to watch them go back and forth to and from both. That's not an easy thing to do. And I think that a lot of the players that we're seeing right now dominate at sixes have something in the field game that they are elite at. So I think that's going to like showcase a ton over the summer.
Definitely. And for yourself as well, you obviously watch a lot of college ball. You're doing some college broadcasting as well. Chloe Humphrey gets tossed around a ton as being, the next face of the sport. She's obviously still very young in a technical sophomore year at UNC. What type of limit does she have? Like, where does her skill level potentially going to take her? Does she have the ability to be the next face?
Oh, for sure. And she's well on her way. And I think the thing about her that makes her so fun to watch is that you don't know what she's going to do next. And I think that's also like a really fun factor, not only as a fan to be watching lacrosse, but also, again, as young lacrosse players to be looking up to. Like, oh, she's not just a power shooter and I need to be just that. You know, she is everything out there. She is a lefty, she's a righty. You couldn't tell when you're watching her highlights. So I think that's what's special for her. I think, like, there's no limit for her. And I think where we're going with the WLL, like, she's going to slot right in and be another face of it in years to come.
Definitely. A lot of things changing for women's lacrosse. Another newest aspect is obviously the two-bomb, the two-pointer for the WLL. Obviously, we saw Charlotte North, probably the only person to hit one so far. Do you like that aspect going into the women's game, as obviously it's been a standalone for the guys for so long?
Yeah, I mean, I love seeing a two-bomb in the guys' game, right? So when we brought it over to our game, what's cool about it is that a lot of fans that are maybe new to women's lacrosse might not know that because our sticks are different than the guys' game, that we can still hit two bombs. We can still hit, shots from deep, and we have power on our shots too. And there are certain players out there that, like, that's a big factor in their game. So yeah, you mentioned Charlotte North, right? Like, she's the only player to actually have one go in. A lot of players have attempted it, at least so far this year in the Champ Series. But I think that a lot of teams and players are going to start to try to figure out how to, like, implement it into the game plan a little bit more, because it's so new on the women's side. We're still trying to figure out, hey, where's the right place to fit this in, rather than just kind of rushing to try to get one at the end of a shot clock when we're down by 2, things like that. I think we're going to see a little bit more strategy around trying to find those opportunities for two bombs where you're going to see the power of the shots for sure.
Definitely. What do you think makes Charlotte's outside shot so dangerous?
For her, it's her release point, I think. If you watch any highlight, it's the handle on her stick that allows her to basically be able to hide her entire head of her stick behind her body. She's basically dipping it all the way down, the way that, like, I don't know if you've seen that slowed down version of Brennan O'Neill dipping his stick all the way down to the floor and then it comes over.
It's more impressive because of, obviously, the sticks you guys use, right? Like, on the guys' side, Hoagie and I both know that feeling of, like, our pockets can be so deep. But for you guys, like we always say, you guys are playing with tennis rackets. So it just kind of shows with what, she's doing differently. Do you think that's something, like, and you're doing coaching right now, is that something you teach to hide the stick like Charlotte, or is that sort of like a new technique that she kind of brought onto the scene?
She definitely elevated it, She definitely made it something that a lot of these young players are like, oh, that's something that works in our game. Let me make sure that I add that as a skill that I have too. And I think as coaches, we all try to make sure that there's, a little bit of versatility in our game, especially on the offensive end, right? So being able to shoot in tight with some finesse, but also being able to have that power. It's definitely something that she's highlighted as a part of our game that I think is just going to explode even more.
Definitely. Obviously, your time at Stony Brook, a guy that we've had on the show a couple of times is Coach Joe Spallina. Let's chat on him real quick. He's a walking storyline, in my opinion. What was it like playing for him? And maybe give us a little insight on maybe something we don't know about Joe.
Ooh, something you don't know about Joe. I loved playing for Joe Spallina. I think for me, what he did for my, like, I wouldn't be sitting in this seat right now if I didn't have Joe Spallina as my coach. And I've said that, day in and day out, because what he did for me was he saw, like, a 16-year-old girl that had a bunch of dreams but wasn't quite there yet with her talent. So he saw the potential, and he saw the fact that I was going to buy in to, a culture that was just unlike any other. And I did, and so did my teammates around me. And he just like really infiltrated that into our locker room. And I'll never experience something like that again. And I'm, like, so grateful to him for it. But I think just, like, the energy that he brings, I think, I don't know, what would you not know about Joe Spallina? Maybe, like, the energy drink obsession. I don't know if he still has it, but
what
he used
is
to
it?
He used to slam C4s before games.
That's awesome.
How many?
Yeah, no, just one. He wasn't, like,
Just
too
one.
crazy, but you always saw that at the front of the bus where he was sitting in the seat on the way to the stadium. But not sure he's doing that anymore. He might be a little bit better about it now, but he's got energy with or without that. So I'm not
He
sure.
strikes me as a black coffee guy
Yeah.
for some reason. I did not think energy drinks.
Yeah, he could be too. I mean, he also, like, wherever we're staying in a hotel for like an away game or anything like that, like he's the guy that's up and on the treadmill running like 15 plus miles, like in silence by himself. Like he's the type of guy that like you look at and you're like, okay, he's practicing what he's preaching, because you see that. You wake up and you're like walking to breakfast in the hotel lobby and you walk past the hotel gym and he's just going at the treadmill, and it's kind of inspiring, like you're like, wow, okay, like he's not only telling me to go put the work in, but he's also putting the work in himself. So
definitely. I like that. Well, that's sweet. V, you want to finish with anything?
I guess, we're talking about Spallina. Can we hit on Alexis Spallina's awesome hot start at Clemson now as a freshman? Obviously, number one recruit, but she's been unbelievable. I'm pretty sure she set the points record in like her second or third game at Clemson. Can you just kind of talk about her?
Yeah, she's for sure. She's unreal, and I've been lucky enough to watch her grow from like age 10 and dominating at that age to now she's she's chasing out her dreams at Clemson. And what's so special about her, and I think she has this similarly to her brother Joey, is they have just such a next level IQ to what's going on. They're kind of just like breaking down the defense in front of them before anything even happens. You could see like the wheels turning as they catch the ball. And I think that just comes from, being around their family and, lacrosse being a part of their life. But yeah, she's incredible. And I think we're going to see great things from her to come. But one of the best parts of her game, I know she's got an incredible shot, but one of the best parts of her game is her vision and her assisting. And I have a soft spot for that. I think that's like the best thing you could do on the offense.
I like that. Well, yeah, Clemson's going to be a baller. There's been so many upsets on the women's side this year that who's really going to come out on top? If you could kind of predict the outcome of the women's college season, what are you predicting?
It's hard right now. Even just like looking at the rankings every week, and I know it's happening on the men's side too. Like it's just such a fun year right now where it's basically anyone's game. And what it makes me, coming from a mid-major program at Stony Brook who never got the chance to go to the Final Four, I just hope we see a Final Four that, yes, has a North Carolina, because I don't think they're going anywhere, but who are those other three? Like, I think that's the really fun part about it. I think Notre Dame's a sleeper pick right now. I think other teams are starting to kind of like have their upset moments right now, and Notre Dame's just been steady, and they've been really, really good, and I think they're kind of hiding in the shadows there. I think Maryland's having a great season. Maryland, obviously a storied program. And I think they're kind of back doing what they do best. So they're another one in there too. And then, Northwestern always at the top. I think it's hard to count them out, So right now it's hard to count them out, but I could foresee them being taken down too. It's fun. Okay. It's a really fun season.
I like that. Can we get maybe a tour time prediction?
Yeah, right now I think it's Madison Taylor or Chloe Humphrey. I think it's between the two. If Chloe Humphrey has the same kind of season she had last year in a different way, I think it's hers repeating. Okay. But
she's going for the four. She's trying to get all four.
Listen, what did Taylor Cummings do? 3?
Yeah, she had 3.
I think Taylor Cummings did 3, and she's the only to ever do it. So Chloe Humphrey setting the bar high, starting off as a freshman, getting it there. So, she's got to kind of I'm sure she's got that pressure on herself. I'm hoping she's not feeling it, but be incredible if she's able to get 4 for 4.
That'd be crazy. God, setting records down there in Chapel Hill. Well, Kylie, appreciate you hopping on the show, and best of luck as life continues to go post playing.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys.
Kylie Ohlmiller, absolute legend, a mainstay in the sport. I can't wait to see her in the booth some more on the media side. We're going to end off episode 2, season 3, with a little ball knower and the Buckets Challenge update. For the fans that didn't listen to episode 1, us 3 and Kev, us 4, did a little snake draft of who we think is going to score the most points on the PLL and WLL for championship series this year. We'll dive into how our rankings and our scorings are for a bit, but first, ball knower AP, please come to the stand.
Gentlemen, hello. I come with a question.
Let's do it.
And just so everybody remembers, ball knower holds some stakes. You get special treatment based on the scoreboard. And if I see your face go like this, I know you're cheating. And your answer does not
Doogs.
count.
Doogs, watch out for Doogs.
Doogs,
Fans
honestly,
comment below.
Doogs, the fact that we have to have this disclaimer because of Mitch's antics last year is sad.
Yeah, this is like the teacher just talking to one kid and presenting it to the entire class.
Let's hear it.
All right. So championship series is in full swing. We've had a lot of good discussion and discourse based on the Sixes format. I'm going to throw it back to a really OG question. Who is the first player to score a goal in the PLL Champ Series?
Romar Dennis. Justin Anderson. Kyle, no.
Marcus Holman.
It's not Sours.
No.
If you need a hint, call on me. I have a couple.
Give us a hint.
He's a whip snake.
Matt Rambo.
Rambo.
Peacock.
Brad Smith. Justin Gardner.
Bingo. Oh, Brad Smith.
That's such
That's
a
a
good
good
one.
one. That's such a good one.
That's such a good one.
Oh my gosh.
2-0. Are you kidding me?
Dude,
That's such
that
a
was
good one. That's a good one, Doogs. I'll give you.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
I like that.
I was actually. I'll tell a little funny story now about that. When AP asked, I was like, "You got to be screwing me," because when I was at Barstool, we had that weekend we had like the all you can drink beer thing, and me and Billy Football were trying to do a beer for every single goal scored during the Champ Series. And the first Champ Series, like you think there was a lot of goals, there was like 70 goals in the first game because nobody knew about how to sub. And I was wasted in the first quarter, like wasted off my ass. The entire week I was wasted. But like, when AP was like, "Let's go back to the first Champ Series," I was blacked out the entire time. Like I'm not gonna know any of this.
Honestly,
That's crazy.
I don't know if we hit on it or not, but the reason Kev's not on the pod today is he's flying home from Champ Series right now. He's got a flight and we're recording this Sunday night. But I have a feeling Kev would have got that on his first guess if he was
100%
today.
100%. Gosh, I love
The
that.
whip stakes is a good one.
Yeah, that was good. Let's finish out episode 2 with our standings. We currently don't know. Behind the scenes, AP and the glorious gods behind the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show production team. There's an army of them, but we make this show happen every Sunday for you guys. What are the current standings for the Golden Stick contest?
Is this me?
Yeah.
Welcome back.
AP's back. Corey, keep this in.
Oh, man. In first place
Yep.
with 37 scoring points, Doogs.
Damn.
Don't worry, Mitch.
Wow.
In second place,
Dude's
doing 37?
33, we got yourself.
Okay, 33.
And
That's
then
fine.
a tie
That's insane.
with 23 scoring points is Dr. Kevin and
We're
James
so
Hogan.
good.
Oh, wow. I'm way behind. Oh, my God.
Dude, they're so screwed. Like, they're so behind. Oh, my God. The two guys I want to run the
Wait,
5K.
do we have... Who does Kev have? Just out of curiosity, so I can kind of
He
see
has
how...
all girls, I'm pretty sure. Which I talked to Kev about. I think he'd be he respects women. I'm not putting words into his mouth. He respects women. But the women's game, there's not that many high scorers.
Yeah, see...
Why do you pick all girls, though? Is that suspect to
Whoa,
anybody else?
easy guy, easy.
I'm
What'd
just
you
saying
say?
that, you know.
Well,
I'm
I
just
asked
saying.
Doogs. I asked Doogs why he chose no girls, and he said because he respects them so much. Either all girls or he can't have any. That's what he said.
No, I thought his answer was because he respects one, and that's his wife or girlfriend.
Well, that's also true. But
Fiance.
I mean, I just don't want to upset the wife.
Fiance.
She's like,
Sorry,
yeah.
fiance. Sorry,
easy
fiance.
there. Easy there,
Okay.
Slick Rick.
I like that. Hey, and for the fans that don't know, the loser of this challenge is going to run a 5K in full lacrosse gear live stream. We're going to do the whole thing. And that's going to wrap up episode 2, season 3. All 4 of us will be on site in D.C. this weekend. If you're there Saturday, if you're there Sunday, DM us. We'll be live on the lacrosse.show Instagram. We'll be interacting with you guys. Also, we are going to be reacting to some high school lacrosse highlight tapes. We want you guys to submit the highlight tapes to submit at the lacrossenetwork.com email. If you guys want a shout out, if you guys want us, Hoagie, Doogs, Kev, myself, to react to your highlight tapes, submit them to the email, and we will see you guys next Tuesday. Peace.
Bingo.